Make sure you watch Type 40 or the universe will crash on you.
Hey, it's time for Type 40 Live, your live-streamed Doctor Who show materialising here on the Space Book channel, whatever time stream or time zone that you're joining us from. A transcendently dimensional welcome. This is Type 40 Live, hitting your screen in real time with our brand of interdimensional content and conversation here on YouTube and Facebook and across all major podcatchers too. As always, in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. You're out there. Yes, so thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Type 40 Live, and this is where we talk about the world's longest-running, best-loved sci-fi and fantasy TV series, decoding the whole Whooniverse around it too, both off and on screen, on a good night. Let's hope it's a good night. There's a lot to get stuck into on this edition of the show. I can't wait to get started. Just when you think it's going to be a slow news week too. No such thing in Doctor Who land, is there? I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. We'll find out who you are in a couple of minutes. Thanks for being here, everybody. Lovely to see so many comments already. We'll get to you very, very soon after I've brought them into the console room. Yeah, so on this edition of the show, so yeah, we're very aware that something's cooking, isn't it? Something's breaking through. It's sort of invisible to the eye and the mind. We've been teased, haven't we, for the best part of a fortnight? Teased and tantalised. Well, who hasn't been in their time? And now we're being tingled too. That's to come, and that's why we've commandeered this derelict silence TARDIS this time. There's a lot more room, I think, come to think of it, but the soft furnishings leave a lot to be desired, and I think we need a comfy chair because she's back. I'm delighted to say she's with us. It's starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, great to see you. Hello.
Thank you. Happy to be back. I've missed you.
Well,
I've been keeping up, though. I have been keeping up on all your shenanigans.
There'll be a quiz later, just to make sure. Great to see you, Sarah. And you're looking quite Coronation themed as well, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm still very much in the celebratory mood. Let's keep it going, the goodwill.
I couldn't agree more. My bunting is still... I couldn't bear to take it down, at least for now. So I'm going to have to find something else, something to substitute it with, some Doctor Who-related bunting, I think, to take its place when this comes down. I don't know. We shall see. But it's great to have you back. Shall we see who else we've got? Who the Time Scoops grabbed too. Now, he's sat there in Tasmania, scratching... I'm not sure what he's scratching something. It's it's nothing that we can see, so I think we're all right. Let's welcome back the one, the only Mr. Matt Pott.
Yeah, sorry, I've got a bit of egg and bacon pie on my face.
It's easy done, mate. It's easy done. How was it? This is it.
Oh, bloody lovely. Yeah.
Yes, it's the glamour.
Well, Sarah, Matt is the only official time traveller we actually have on the show, on the regular panel, isn't he? He's calling us from tomorrow, aren't you? How is Friday looking so far, mate? It's good?
Yes, sunny with a little slight chance of rain.
Marvellous stuff. What do you think about the silence TARDIS here then? Did this creep you out a little bit?
Me? It was.
you. Go on.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't
Yeah,
even look
yeah.
like a TARDIS to me, but yeah, go.
Looks like a spider, doesn't it, or something like that? Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
spider.
yeah. Well,
Mm.
it's probably not the best designed TARDIS, but then again, you've got others that are probably way worse.
Considerably worse. Yeah. Time is a great healer. And be careful what you wish for, everybody. Now, if you think Matt's a tough crowd, we've got the ultimate tough crowd here, as always. Yes, he's here, and he's also eating too. It's the one, the only, Mr. Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek. Hello.
Hey,
Right.
I say he always comes on and does that in the wrong show.
Yeah, I always do that.
That's it. You do the Top Gun salute, don't you?
Not
We've
bad.
been
Well
through
done,
the salutes before,
Yeah.
haven't we? We've been like, hello, Ian. How are you, mate? What's going on there? What's going on there? What's
I'm all
happening
right.
with you?
I'm fine. As I said, I'm a bit blind to what's happening with Doctor Who news at the moment because I've been working too much. But hopefully, this show will reveal.
that's good. We'll have
Oh.
fresh reactions.
Yeah, well,
Better
that's
for
what I'm all
worse.
about.
I'm happy to say, mate, that I think I can confidently state this: that you've definitely come to the right place, isn't it? Yeah. It looks like it. Looks
Right.
like it. Yeah, and rounding out the panel this time, she's here too. We've got Queen Charlotte Shields, and we've got a new signal from Charlotte too. So hello, Charlotte.
Hello, I finally had a tech upgrade, folks.
Yay!
You've been cybertized. You've had the upgrade.
Yes, I'm off my iPad. I'm actually on a proper laptop, so hopefully this means I won't be crackling like I was.
Yeah, you are a bit.
Little bit.
Oh no!
No,
Yeah, you are, but it's okay.
it'll settle down. It'll
sounds-
settle down.
It sounds great. So, how's your week been, Charlotte?
It's been Sats week, so it's been fun because it's considering where I work. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
You've come here to chill out and maybe get creeped out. What do you make of this? The silenced
It was
TARDIS
definitely
there.
creepy in the episode, wasn't it? Because the lighting was even darker from my memory, and you could hardly see half of it.
I do like it. I think it's better than the Jodie one, that's for sure.
Oh, anything's better than the Jodie
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, my
We said
nan.
atmosphere. Was
Yeah,
the one.
Well, my nan used to have an outside toilet in an outhouse, a brick-built outhouse, and that was a lot more like a TARDIS than what we got under Chris Chibnall. Now, and finally, everybody, filling the guest spot on this edition of the show. Yeah, he's back. Turns out there is one born every minute, unless he's spent the entire month since we last spoke to him sobering up from the last time. We got him back, and I'm not sure. I think he's calling from an attic somewhere. He is here, and he's on air. And he's got a lot of hair as well. It's James Wilson, the Who addict himself, back on Type 40 Live. Hello.
Hello. So very
Hi,
pleased
James.
to be back. Hello.
Great to see you. And you've got a friend there. Is that a 10th Doctor cuddly toy behind you?
Yes, it is. Returning from the last time I was here. Yes.
Yeah.
This is Bear Tennant. Yes.
Oh yes, I remember.
Wearing my favourite variation of 10th Doctor get-ups, the blue suit. So yeah, it's very good. Got his own little Sonic there and everything, and a Dalek behind me as well. You know, just so the Bear Tennant's there to protect me from that Dalek. So lovely.
Fabulous. So how are you enjoying the 60th anniversary so far then? Have you been watching much old Doctor Who?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to like an anniversary coming up, I always try to watch more classic stuff, more than I normally do. I dare even say I don't even watch that much modern Who that much anymore from 2005 onwards. So just because of work and just other commitments in life, and but as the 60th starts to roll forward, as November draws ever closer, I guaranteed I will bust out some proper 60s, 70s, and 80s classic Who episodes, guaranteed.
Excellent, because I think some people do this, don't they, Sarah? They say, okay, I'm going to watch every regeneration story or every anniversary story or every... You think, I'm going to do this. You set yourself a little challenge.
You do, and then life will always get in the way. No matter, you can't help it. And because, there's that many doctors and it's brilliant, but you do have to kind of pick and choose. But I mean, I agree with James, I think, because I've been that used to, modern Who. It has been nice to go back and revisit some classic. I've been watching some 70s stuff, and I'm going to start on some 80s stuff as well. But because I've been watching the 5 Doctors, and that's really put me, giving me appetite back for 80s Doctor Who. And I think stories like that, I mean, you've got to watch, the specials, I think, before this one, just get the excitement up of multi-Doctors and all the little Easter eggs and things, because we know they're going to be cram-packed with things come November.
Revisit the best of times, as we've done on Type 40 Live, haven't we, Ian? We've covered the 5 Doctors and the 3 Doctors. We've got a couple more things up our sleeve for the rest of the year too, so you're going to want to stay tuned for all of that. Should we go and see? Because the party is still going on, James. We were here celebrating the coronation last week, and we're all sort of still here hanging out in the cold. And we've got a chat full of our friends, fans and companions there. So we're going to go and check out some of the messages and see what they've got to say as they fall in. Okay, where are we? Let's hit this. Yeah, thank you to everybody who's rolled in, including this time tune from the Geeks Handbag. There's the Type 40 Live theme tune comes out of the speakers at him. He's bowled over, as many people are. It is the best theme tune in Doctor Who podcasting, isn't it, James?
It is, honestly. I am in awe of, like, whenever I'm on here, I'm just like, oh God, okay, I've got to bring on a bit more showmanship, and because on my channel I'm just a little bit more, I script a lot less, and I kind of just ramble on. I've got to do that less, but here it's unbelievably brilliant and positive what this podcast does, so I love it.
Oh, thank you. Very, very kind words.
Come again, Jim.
Now, I'm not entirely sure what this message means, Charlotte, but alert, celestial being is coming. I'm in everyone's head, Dan and friends. Lots of devil. I think Meta is getting rather ahead of the game here. We can't decipher this until we decipher the rest, Charlotte.
I think Meta's been listening to some backwards audio, possibly. We'll see.
You could be right.
It's dangerous, that is.
Hello,
Being
Sweet.
very
Is that
meta.
that's you. That's you.
Me?
It's you again. Yeah. Retro Doc's here with Space Bookers Day 40 Type Happy. Oh, I see. He's typing
Everybody's
in reverse.
doing this backwards.
Oh, very clever.
It's the theme. Thank heaven.
Satan will pop up in a puff of smoke zone.
Thank heaven we've got the Darren Zone here to talk sort of sensibly, at least for now. Darren, good to see you, mate. He was celebrating as well this week. Yeah, no news is good news, like Type 40 news, says Mark Milford. Thank you, Mark. I think that's a good thing, Ian. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Looks like he's on the bog, doesn't he, his avatar? Well, he is, isn't he?
Well, he is.
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
I
Well,
think
there you
See it all blown up there.
go.
awaiting that familiar fall on water, Matt. You
Yes.
says the time scales, and we've got Richard Brooks here with a good evening. Everybody, really,
Yeah.
everybody he could see it at the time. There's been several people come on since. Matthew Burrows is here too, and he's griping and grousing. Oh, never mind, Matthew. We'll cheer you up a bit, I promise. And Wendy's here too with an evening Space Bookers from the Department of
Hey,
Web
buddy.
Knowledge. You have to take that seriously. That's an instruction.
Yeah.
There, from anybody else, it's advice. That's an absolute instruction. Got to have a good evening there. Absolutely. Hello, timescales. Hello, everybody else. People still aren't happy about Jinx Monsoon, but we've got plenty else to talk about. We have.
No one is.
Here comes Mr. Hadley behaving badly, says the timescales. Thank you. Am I? Good evening, everyone, says the Geeks Handbag, and the John Pork's here too, with a hi, everyone.
I love his avatar. His avatar's amazing.
It gets better every week, doesn't it? When it pops off. Hi, everyone, from Rebecca Gold. That's you as well.
Wonder who that
And
is.
this music rocks.
She's
I
hot.
know.
I'll tell
I mean,
her
we're not supposed to say that. Yeah.
Young for me.
Good
that.
evening, all.
Young for you. It's not good.
A beautiful thumbnail, says Aidan McGee. I'm surprised you can see it.
Aidan.
That one or that one. Let me know, left or right, Aidan. Left or right. I think I know what he means. Thank you for joining us, Aidan. Looks like a tripod, says the time scales. Oh, I think it means the desktop. Thank God for that.
So that could have been anything with this panel.
I thought he's not just got out the bath. Woodhouse 122 says evening all. And it's probably going to get worse, James. I have to say the gags aren't going to get any cleaner as
I
the
just
night
had
goes
that
on.
Austin Powers scene in my head with Michael Caine and Mini-Me.
I was going to say,
Oh, you're a little tripod.
Dan started this backstage with the tingle teaser. So
It's always me.
Make us tingle, Dan.
Well, I wouldn't be for me to say, would it? So Aidan says here we're back to the silence TARDIS there. So we're talking about that, and that's a more fleshed out concept design of it, and it was a lot more watered down in the show. Yeah, and this is where I should give a nod to the wonderful Harry Ammett. I think that's how you pronounce it, Harry, who's a brilliant digital artist who puts his stuff out mostly on Twitter, I think, but I think he's got a Deviant page as well. So this is one of his amazing visualizations there of something that we didn't see anywhere near as much of on the screen as I wanted to, Sarah. I wanted to see more of that TARDIS.
Yeah, well, lovely. I think, if I remember rightly, I think part of it was at the Doctor experience.
Was it?
So you could see some of it, but again, it wasn't as detailed as that was. But yeah, it just one of many cool things that you only saw once, and it would have been to have all that explode would have been really cool. That's Moffat for you.
I think most fans were. As I say, I think most fans were like, less of Cord and more of that TARDIS.
Yeah.
I liked that episode. I don't care what anyone says. I thought the episode was really fun. I really thought it was a lot of fun, and I didn't mind James Corden. I thought he was before everybody was
all right in
having
that
a go
one.
at him.
He was all right.
Everybody had a go at him. He was
The
fine.
lodger or closing time. The lodger or closing time.
No, the first one, the lodger, the first one.
Right. Okay. So I do prefer the lodger to closing time. I'm not
closing time is an abomination because there's no way I'm going to see it.
Strong words from the starry-eyed jury.
If we hadn't been messing around with James Corden, he would have time to visit the Brigadier, and I will never forgive him for that.
Yeah, it's true. That is true too.
I
do like that episode. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I did like Stormageddon. I did like that bit.
Yeah.
Cracking stuff. The Geeks Handbag says the 5 Doctors is just incredible. I've watched that so many times, Sarah. I think we have, haven't we? All of us. I think we've probably seen that 101 times. Tennant Sticks classic. Yeah, we point you in the direction of the playlist there for I think it was about 3 hours. We talked about the 5 Doctors, wasn't it? Last November, December time. Charlotte, do you remember that?
Yeah, that's one of our fun specials.
Yeah, isn't that going to be included in the Peter Davison Blu-rays coming out? Isn't it?
We suspect it is. We've heard word, James, that season 20 will be the next of the Blu-ray box sets. Do you collect those, mate?
I don't. I'm afraid. But if they're making a Blu-ray of the 5 Doctors, God knows I will definitely be looking into my bank account, and regardless of how broke I am, I will probably try and get it. Because the 5 Doctors is my absolute favorite. I personally prefer the 3 Doctors, but that's just me. I would.
There are no wrong answers to that one, are there? Between those two stories, when we covered them, I think we all felt the same way. And we've got some great news here from Raymond Williams. My 9-year-old daughter has just started watching, shown no interest until now. Then last week, Ian, out of the blue, asked to watch. He started her with Series 5's The 11th Hour. What do you think of that?
Oh, fantastic. 11 Hours is my favourite pilot of all of the Doctor Who episodes in the entire history of Doctor Who episodes, pilot episodes. That is my favourite one. So there you go.
Lots of support here for the Lodger too, James. This is going down very, very well. The Lodger was excellent.
It was. Why is people complaining about it? Because James Corden's in it. Doesn't make any sense. You know, he may be a bit of a twit now, but he wasn't then. Do you know what I mean? So,
well, he was playing James Corden as well, so it wasn't a great reach. I think he handled himself quite well. I'd like to think that if I was playing myself in something, I'd do okay.
Better than his performance at.
Ooh. Ada McGear, it says, yes, this pleases me. I love season 19. We'll definitely be waiting for season 20. Yes, I think we all are. So, Sarah, obviously you weren't here last week, but I know that you've been all over this because you were kind of ranting a little about it on social media, weren't you? I thought we'd take a little aside. I know it was you were pulling no punches in your somewhat scathing review of the weekend's festivities, because obviously we did a big show celebrating the coronation last week, James, and that's where all this bunting's from, and we did kings from Doctor Who history of the alien kings and all sorts of things, but we got it at the weekend, and it was that so we had the coronation. We have a new king, King Charles III and Queen Camilla. And that went on Saturday afternoon, and then the Sunday they dropped this on us, didn't they? It was about 3 hours worth. So it was the coronation concert at Windsor Castle. And normally with these things, I gotta say, I give them a wide berth anyway, because I'm pretty much used to the. In fact, last week I predicted which acts were going to be on this, and I wasn't far off. The only person missing was Diana Ross, Sarah, but Lionel Richie was there. Well, he looked a little bit like Lionel Richie, and he was singing and he was shouting Lionel Richie's songs, Matt. But I think he was there. But this concert did finish off that entire weekend of the festivities, marking the coronation at Windsor Castle, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. And but we had a doctor. We had a new doctor in residence, didn't we? We didn't get a look at him in character or anything like that. But Ncuti Gatwa, he was there. He rolled in. So obviously they're in the middle of filming Doctor Who at the moment, but he took time out to go there, and he was there on the BBC that morning. This is what he turned up dressed in, Ian.
Bloody hell.
He's definitely becoming known for his fashion sense. He definitely dresses.
Well, at least he's got a shirt on.
I like the coat, but the short trousers, the trousers and the shoes are giving me Whittaker vibes. I don't like it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's the cost of living crisis at the moment. He's got two jobs. He was doing this with the Windsor Castle, filming Doctor Who as well. It turns out he's got a third job as well, and I'm not going to knock him for that. He's a grafter. Well, whatever, fair play. So Ncuti was there. In case you didn't see this, he was performing, wasn't he? So he was performing some theatre, I suppose you could call it, and it was we speculated. We knew it was going to be Shakespeare, and we tried to take a punt on which Shakespeare. We tried to get all cultural last week, James, and I passed it over to Simon Horton because he does know his Shakespeare. And between us, we were completely wrong in every guess we had about which play Ncuti Gatwa was going to perform an excerpt from. But we tried to give people a bit of the South Bank show last week. But did you watch this, James? Were you glued to the television?
I was working the entire coronation weekend.
Brilliant excuse.
The entire coronation weekend. No, I wanted to. I really, really wanted to watch it. But I was saying at work, could we possibly play the coronation on one of these screens or something? And they were like, nope, you can't. You're meant to be working. You can't be caught like watching the telly and that. So I was like, oh Jesus, all right, okay. But there were like pictures of the now King Charles everywhere and bunting all over the place at work. So there was definitely a British feel. I did have a full English breakfast at work.
That's a good ass.
So that was. I had my sausage, had my bacon, had my black pudding. So it was wasn't so bad.
What did Ncuti do then when he turned up on stage?
It's funny
because I never saw that.
James missed it last week. James, you've come to the right place, mate. We've got it here. Wonder no longer. Here's Ncuti. No. This is him in action. So this is what he was up to, Ian. Ncuti's the one in the trousers, mate. The one in the trousers. That's May Mack next to him playing Juliet, and Ncuti is playing Romeo in an excerpt from Romeo and Juliet, obviously.
My God.
Yeah.
Right.
He's doing better than I could do, I've got to be honest.
No, I could. I
preview to The Little Mermaid.
This is the first thing that I posted because I was like, wow, he's a good kisser.
He really went for it, didn't
he? Darling.
I know.
It's weird, Sarah. I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Why didn't he appear as the Doctor though? I don't understand why. Because the Doctor is linked with Britain, in a unique way. Why didn't he appear as the Doctor and say hello to the crowd, say hello to the King and stuff like that?
Disney probably wouldn't allow it.
No,
They wouldn't allow it.
He's not the Doctor yet, though, is he? David Tennant's Doctor.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he could have appeared as
Time
the
travel.
Doctor. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it could have been nice. Do you know? I don't understand. Anyway, whatever. I mean, logic is always missing from these things.
I was going to say, Ian, it was like a theme, so it wasn't just him. They also had ballet at the same time, and it was this theme of all the Royal Shakespeare entities in Britain all coming together.
Yeah, it was unprecedented, apparently. So there was an audience of 20,000 there, and obviously there was millions of people watching at home. And it was a collaboration between the Royal College of Art, the Royal College of Music, the Royal Opera, and the Royal Ballet, and the Royal Shakespeare Company. So that's why you had music from West Side Story in the background, didn't you, Sarah? Did you notice that?
I did notice that. I've also just noticed them flowers in background are in TARDIS colours, so we did get representation here.
You think?
Yeah, so I thought this was. I'm not a Shakespeare expert by any stretch of the imagination, and I think I've covered before how little James I've seen of Ncuti Gatwa do anything. So I just really liked. I mean, he's giving off sort of John Travolta in Grease energy here, but in the picture we've got on screen at the moment. But I just really liked his energy, and I did find it kind of heartfelt and sort of spellbinding as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a sort of playful energy to him that we've probably seen with David Tennant's Doctor, or Doctors plural, and also Matt Smith's Doctor as well. So there's definitely that sort of playful energy that we've seen in multiple of the Doctors that that I'm very excited to see him give in Series 14. Absolutely. From the pictures that I've seen of the 60s episode, and now they're shooting, I think it's like a Edwardian kind of set episode. Them all dressing up to actually fit the era. I thought was really nice.
We've got that coming up later on. Don't you worry about that. But the thing I like about this, and the thing I pick up about Ncuti James from every picture that I see of him, is the smile. He's very much like Ian Diaz here. He's got that infectious smile, Ian, just like yours.
I don't know. I'm still the jury's still out with me and him and Doctor Who. I've got to admit though, I mean, he's probably good at this because this is where he comes from the theatre, doesn't he not? Originally comes from the theatre. So
he's done a fair amount of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it last week. He's played Mercutio before in Midsummer Night's Dream. Is that right, Sarah?
I haven't seen. I can honestly tell you the worst thing about that concert was Lionel Richie. His voice was terrible. He sounded awful.
He's lost it, hasn't he? Completely lost it big
time. It was like he was shouting the words instead of singing it.
Elton John's gone the same. Whenever they wheel him out now, he sort of barks out your song and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Think, oh,
it was sad. It was sad listening to him that way, and I was thinking, oh no, he sounds. Well, I tell you what, take that though.
Oh no! Well, we're getting to that.
Take that.
Take that. Fantastic. Yeah. Again. I appreciate these concerts. I didn't see a great deal of it. I saw bits and bobs and whatever's turned up on social media. But again, it's the same people, probably in the same order, doing exactly what you'd expect. And so I like little bits of culture like this. Well, I remember, Ian, when we were kids, they used to have things like this on the telly in front of the royal family. And often, one of the reasons why I found it so boring is because it would largely be classical music, ballet, and excerpts from Shakespeare or plays. It wasn't Take That jumping around or whoever else.
The thing is though, they were really scraping the barrel because I heard that they were having a hard time getting big stars on the show. Like they asked Elton John, and he said no because of his relationship with Princess Di. Yeah. And they asked a lot of people, and they all said no. So the ones they got on,
it's been a little misreported because the Sun, for example, said, Charlotte, that Adele, who is probably in my view probably the only real singer around at the moment. They asked Adele to do it, and the Sun reported that Adele had snubbed the Coronation. But the truth of the matter is, like, she's on tour on the other side of the world.
That's why she couldn't do it.
Same with Ed Sheeran as well, that made out that he'd snubbed it, and again,
but he was in a court case, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like fighting a court case at the time as well, so he was under a lot of stress. But Katy Perry, is it? What's her name?
Katy Perry.
That's her. The one dressed like Equality Street. She was all right. She was good, right? She was good.
She was giving off Emperor of the Daleks sort of vibes, wasn't she? There's a giant golden
and the Muppets stole the
couldn't
show
hit them high notes in Firework, though. That was the only thing.
The Muppets
Miss Piggy definitely stole
the show, didn't she? And I'm totally confused over why they got the guy from the guy who was hosting that, can't remember his name. Totally confused why they got him rather than someone like Lenny Henry or someone that normally does shows like this. You know the guy? What's his name? Hugh
Bonneville, from Downton Abbey and the Curse of the Black Spot.
It was in that joke with the Muppets. Downton Abbey.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Crimpling the Balloon asks here, Matt, does Shooty dress like that so that when he goes out in public dressed normally, he's not recognised? What do you think?
Was he dressed like? Was he dressed in that caramel suit again? Was he, or what? Because he changes clothes like he changes his nappies. So
Jonathan Cox says miserable buggers. Now I don't know if he's talking about us.
He's probably talking about us.
About
I wonder if he wears his clothes once and then throws them away.
He's definitely talking about us because we do sound. I sound miserable, definitely. But the thing is, though, I expect something better when they do something for the King and the Queen. I expect something to be outstanding, and this concert was not outstanding as far as I can tell. I watched the majority of it, but I didn't watch
outstanding parts.
You know
like the drones. The drones were good. I didn't appreciate Stella McCartney telling me what I need to do to save planet.
Oh, right, okay.
I could have done without that bit.
Another multimillionairist giving us a lecture there. And Matthew Burrows says, well, he's not playing the Doctor. So now we have two people who failed in the role. Who are we talking about? Who? Well, I don't get it, Matthew. You have to explain what you mean by that one. The time scale says Shooty's playing an alternate Doctor there.
I get it.
You could look at it that way. You could. I mean, Shooty. What I like about this, yes, he isn't the Doctor yet for the eyes of the general public, but there will be people watching that show, millions of people watching it, who will have clocked it and recognised it. Some will know his name from other stuff he's done, but I suppose it's raised his global profile, isn't it? Because you can be big on Instagram, can't you, Matt? I mean, I know you're huge on Instagram, aren't you?
Who's the bird that he's with, by the way?
That's May Mack. So she's also a theatre star.
English?
I think she is. Yes.
Yeah,
okay. No, I was just wondering if it was very.
There was an
English
interview and she was.
she was.
I didn't
know she was American or something.
Yeah. Happy Type 40 Day, everyone, says Geek Rambles. We do hope she materialises later on. I think she just clocked off work. So even Shah's not a Time Lord. Yeah, we'll see if we can materialise her later on. We do have a quote here from Shooty, and he talked about Shakespeare because it's like David Tennant and several other past Doctors. He's a big Shakespeare buff, and he was waxing lyrical about this on the BBC and said, I feel like it lives. The world of Shakespeare lives on the page, and he was just a man writing from his heart. So again, I don't see many interviews with Shooty. This is up on YouTube for anybody who wants to see it, like a 3-minute interview with him and what's her name? Kirsty used to present Desert Island Discs.
Kirsty Young.
Kirsty Young, yeah, the Scots woman. Yes, nice little interview there. And for me, I think he acquitted himself beautifully. But I know some Shakespeare buffs may disagree. That's absolutely fine.
I really liked it because it reminded me of the Leonardo DiCaprio film. The Baz Luhrmann one.
Yeah, I know the Baz Luhrmann one. What that reminded you?
Because he was doing because he's trying to make Shakespeare cool for the kids. But he's doing in the interview was saying, it's Shakespeare, it's not that difficult. But
what do you expect him to say? I hate Shakespeare. They made me do it. Do you know what I mean? What do you expect him to say? He's gonna say it's good, right? But
he's not making it stuffy. Like a lot of people can take it really seriously. I'm not saying he's not taking it seriously, but he's jazzing it up, and I really like that. How he's just doing the Romeo's just a teen. He's basically just a randy teenager who sneaks into a party, and I quite like that. I think that's
Yes, so do I.
all the kids studying GCSE Romeo and Juliet. It's helpful.
Let us know what you think of that in the comment section. Are you a Shakespeare buff? Are you astounded by our ignorance? What do you think of Shooty's performance there as Romeo? Did you watch that just to get a snippet of the Doctor that he may be in the future? Let us know. Let us know.
Greetings, I am K9. If you have an inquiry and Siri or Alexa cannot help, maybe I can. Have you ever wondered if time travel is possible? Or what can a sonic screwdriver do? I may have the answers. Please leave your questions in the comments below.
And no sooner was he done at Windsor Castle, he was back in the afro wig that we've talked about already a couple of times. He was running around in Cardiff again. Ian and the location hunters, they were on his tail, James. They never leave the poor buggers alone, do they? If you follow certain hashtags over on Twitter. And Darren Griffiths, he was one of them. We've got some pictures here that Darren's been sharing on social media. So there they are. There's Shooty Gatwa, and Millie Gibson was there too, looking somewhat startled. And in a purple hued TARDIS too. So do you follow the location filming stuff, James, or do you consider all of this stuff a massive spoiler?
I do follow it every now and again. I try not to go too deep into it because, again, I do like to, be a little bit surprised and like I'm seeing it all for the first time when the episodes eventually air. But I do definitely keep up on the location stuff because, like every fan out there, I am, of course, a little bit skeptical as to, oh God, Shooty, please be good in this role. Please be good. We've just had one Doctor leave the role that has been, quite divisive among fans. And
you're not kidding.
Yeah, so I'm always like, Shooty, please be good in this. And so from what I've seen from videos and photos and from what they've shot, he looks great in the part. I mean, the blue suit that he's wearing for the 60s episode looks very reminiscent of the 10th Doctor's blue suit. That he used to wear, and you can see that's the Doctor walking out onto Abbey Road. If you look in another picture, that sign there that's right next to him to the left, that says Abbey Road. So he is on the famous Abbey Road, and so that is a really iconic place to be in the 60s. So it's just great. And Shooty's there smiling, and he's like, the 60s Beatles era, and then Ruby Sunday's like, oh my God, I'm in the 60s.
I'm actually here. Well spotted, James, because I hadn't seen that sign, but I had seen this. I'm a huge Beatles fan, and so I'd seen the TARDIS. Oh, you are too. So I'd seen the TARDIS there next to a zebra crossing. And I don't know who that guy is there strolling across it. So you think, oh, okay, and the trees and the water, that kind of period building, and then you spot the Volkswagen Beetle there in the background, and it all starts to fall into place. So this is absolutely a homage, isn't it? We are clearly going back to
not
Beatles
the real road, is it? It's not the real road, right? Because this is in Cardiff, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
But Cardiff is a pretty good double for Abbey Road.
It is.
It is.
Isn't it? Yeah, that actually looks like the real road. Yeah.
They've done a great job.
I agree by the look of these pictures. I mean, it depends on how long it's going to be on screen for. We don't get a chance to examine it, do we? But it's certainly a near enough match. And just to evoke that time, obviously Abbey Road was the Beatles' 1969 album, wasn't it? Wasn't it, James? I think it was the last one released.
He's got his shoes.
Yeah.
At the time they're together.
I mean, it would be very interesting to see what's the Doctor going to do. Is the Doctor going to get to meet the Beatles? Have they cast actors to actually play John, Paul, George, and Ringo? That would be amazing to watch him meet the famous band as well. So that would be very exciting.
It'll also be very interesting to see whether they tackle the racism that was happening in the 60s as well.
Oh yeah.
My mum always used to tell me about that all the time when she came over in the 60s with Dad and stuff. Racism was quite rife at the time. So it'd be interesting if they do tackle
I
it.
just
Or they
don't
might gloss over it like that.
Would you be content for them? Would you be content for them to approach those subjects then, Ian? Because
I wouldn't. Yeah, if I wouldn't mind them if they do it properly. But as I said in previous episodes, like the one with Bill, BBC glosses over it like it kind of slightly doesn't exist. I wouldn't mind that either. I'm just interested to see what Shooty's going to give us. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends really what you kind of want out of a time travel show. If you want something fun, but also educational, like you would get with Doctor Who, like what Sydney Newman probably first intended with the show, for the show to actually be educational. If you want it to be fun and kind of glosses over it, like the 12th Doctor in Thin Ice, full on punches a guy for being racist towards Bill. Or if you want something a little bit more heavy, like on that subject matter, like Rosa, which I've talked to a lot of people. Rosa is like a lot of people's only good episodes of Jodie's era. A lot of people have.
Well, it's not up to us, is it, James? It's not up to us. It's up to them, isn't it? It's up to Russell, whatever. It's up to him. So I mean, just given what he's done. So.
Yeah, I mean, Russell is no stranger to really kind of heavy subject matter. He tackled the subject of the AIDS epidemic in It's a Sin. So you know, he's not afraid to tackle some of those really terrible issues in our history. So I think if he does, then I know it's probably going to be done quite tastefully.
Yeah, you're a lot more confident in Russell T Davies too, Charlotte. You know, when you hear, they may touch on this subject, you think, oh God, you get a flashback to the depths of the Whittaker era, and then you remember that Russell T Davies, for some of the things that he says and some of the calls that he's making, he is still in my view, Britain's best populist screenwriter. You relatively, where are you with that?
I'm sort of in a wait and see approach, I think, with this, because I think it would be really odd if it wasn't addressed. It would stand out if it was just like, oh no, it's okay. He can be in these time periods with no repercussions. That would be, I don't want that to happen. So if it's going to be addressed, which I think it should, that's why I'm in wait and see approach. It has to be done tastefully. It can't take over the whole script. It has to be there, but it can't be the forefront of everything. And
or the whole series. If it's going to be featured, I wouldn't mind if it's featured once. It's fine, but I wouldn't want them to dwell on it because
that's what I think. What sort of James was talking about. I think a mixture is probably going to be the best approach here. It has to have that fun element. It has to have the entertainment, but when he does touch on it, it has to hit the right way, and it has to be tasteful in the right way. And Russell has shown that.
The BBC might push into it too much because of what's actually happening.
Yes, that's the thing.
That's the fear, isn't it? That's the fear they might push
into. It's such a charged thing, and I think Russell knows that. So any writer should know. It's sort of like a hot potato, so he has to handle it very carefully.
By the way, that purple in the TARDIS is just lighting. It's not what you see in the TARDIS. As you can see the light in the.
A few people are mentioning this in the chat, Ian, because if you remember when we got those leaked photos here on the show back in, I think that was October, November time as well, we got those leaked shots, didn't we, of the new TARDIS interior set, and we'd heard from our sources that the new set was going to be much more versatile, and that the lighting, that it had been built and lit in such a way that the lighting will change across the series, like depending on the mood of the episode. We saw that a little in the original Russell T Davies era, but apparently, technology moves on, doesn't it? And the series has got more money now, and people are speculating here that purple color coming out of the rear doors. Does that
just the light?
But does that indicate though that the light? Because when the TARDIS has been on other locations in the last few weeks, it's been normal, soft white light. So does this mean that we could have a slightly purple hue to the TARDIS in that particular episode? It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. But, maybe they're just using purple to combat the daylight, because there's different temperatures. The daylight's different temperature to what. I don't know. Maybe they are using purple for a reason. Who knows?
I just hope they settle into a consistent outfit style for Shooty. That's what Aidan McGear's. That's his take on it. I'm not a fan.
I got the feeling that they're not
style every single episode.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to say, isn't it? Because when we see pictures and snapshots, for all we know, there are lots of episodes, weren't there, Sarah, for example, where the 10th Doctor would go and slip into I don't know, like that orange spacesuit, for example. He didn't necessarily spend the entire episode in it, but just 10 minutes wearing that or a tux or something. So what we're seeing might not be the whole picture. I'm not saying that he won't change costumes every episode, and I'm not necessarily. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I haven't made my mind up yet. But I don't think it's necessary, because the images they're showing us, they are there to hype us up, aren't they? And to communicate, I suppose, the ambition of all new Doctor Who.
I mean, like you say, it depends on the episode. I mean, we've seen, 2, stories that are going to be set in the past. So maybe it is just this Doctor is just going to dress, appropriately, to blend in. And he's going to wear the orange and brown, for the present day stuff. Who knows? But it depends how successful he is. Because, if he's successful, then all the toys are going to sell, aren't there? There's going to be 50 million variants of what he's wearing. But yeah, I have to say that season 8, when Peter Capaldi because he had kind of like different clothes every episode, and it was.
Did he have a polka dot shirt in one episode?
Yeah, in the.
I know that's still. Yeah, it didn't change the silhouette of the character, though, didn't it?
Slight variations. They weren't. It's like Pertwee. Pertwee always had that dandy look, even though he changed his colours.
Yeah. But this is what I'm afraid of, because I remember Russell T when he was talking to someone, and someone said, "Oh, it's not that costume thing you're talking about." And I'm just scared that he's going to get rid of the idea that the Doctor will have one costume and a variation of that one costume. I just get the feeling he's going to just get rid of that idea. I want that idea. I like that idea.
Maybe they're going to wait to see which ones the audience respond to, Matt. Let's say, I like this one, I like that one. And Matthew Burrows in the chat here says, I like the leather jacket one, that long leather jacket he wears in what I think could be the Christmas one. So maybe they're waiting to see which shoot he feels happier moving around in, which the audience latch onto, which could be a bit more marketable as action figures, James, because obviously this is a big step up. The ambition for this show is clear, isn't it? A refreshed feel for the show, yes, but they're very serious about upscaling the entire brand.
Yeah, I personally feel like as you said, they are genuinely trying to put the money on the screen, as it were. They're trying to really make it clear that they're taking the show seriously again. Not seriously in terms of, it still looks like it's going to be fun and, occasionally lighthearted and stuff, and definitely be a lot of bombastic entertainment here and there. But they are taking it seriously in regards to how they treat the show. That they're probably going to put more money into the costumes, which means more variance in what the Doctor wears, and when he goes to different eras and places in time, and that will affect, probably different types of variants of action figures, Funko Pops, so like I can just picture the Funko Pops of the Afro blue suit 60s 15th Doctor and the Edwardian get up as well. So there are going to be multiple Funko Pop variants. I can just see them in my head now, the style and everything. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see the Doctor sort of fit more into that time period that he's in.
I think if they're doing that, I think that's very sad. And if they're thinking about the toys, I think it's very sad.
I mean, the Doctor's had a TARDIS, he's had a wardrobe in the TARDIS for all this time now. I remember watching the Tom Baker episode Robot. He's first trying out clothes, and he's got like a Viking outfit.
Yeah.
So it's like the Doctor is no stranger nostalgia to trying to fit into that era that he's in. But for some reason, most of the time, he sticks to one particular style. I've never really understood that. In The Idiot's Lantern, the 10th Doctor could have went all out, but he wears the same brown suit and goes for more of a Buddy Holly hair look. So he's like, yeah, that'll do.
But I think that was the idea, wasn't it? That the Doctor is the one that stays the same, more or less, when he goes to different time periods. And the companion is the one that dresses up.
Yeah, it's more the companion.
Doing this
in the past.
The other way around, I think it might take away something from the Doctor Who that I know, put it that way. Obviously, I'm speaking for myself. So
it depends on how he's going to play the Doctor. Has he got enough presence in what he's wearing? Some actors, it doesn't matter what they're wearing.
Bloody hell, is that him?
Yeah, so this brings us.
It's the one on the left,
Mr. Darcy.
Oh, I do like that. I do like that coat. I'm sorry.
I prefer the costume on the left, actually.
So this picture was released. A set of just 2 new pictures were released on Wednesday as location filming moved to Tredegar House, which is in Newport in Wales, and we got this picture on the staircase. I didn't recognise Ncuti Gatwa or Millie Gibson immediately when I saw this.
I just realised that was Millie. I just because of the eyebrow, but other than that, because she hasn't got as much makeup on. Jeez, just goes.
Wouldn't he get run through though if he wasn't that time period?
Well, that's obviously we don't know the context of the episode yet, where they are and why and for how long. But yeah, when I saw this, I didn't recognise them at all. But I thought, well, what a sumptuous image, very very evocative. I like the way the Doctor's sort of cutting his eyes, and Millie Gibson just looks delightful, pretty as a picture there in that. And the person stood next to them is the guest star that was announced earlier this week. This is Jonathan Brough. I've got to be honest, I'd never heard of the guy, I'd never heard of the name, and I didn't recognise the face. But it does, as it turns out, I do know him from various things that he's been in. I've seen him and I've heard him. He was one of the voice cast of Frozen, wasn't he, Sarah?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you liked that. I thought you liked the movie. He was one of the voice cast. No, he was the big burly sort of prince type character in that. You know,
he was the love interest, basically.
About 2 minutes in that film.
Don't get too confused. That he's not the love interest that turns evil at the end.
No.
He's the one whose best friend is like a deer or a moose. Or something.
That's him. That's him.
Yeah,
so,
I've put in there.
Apparently, Jonathan Groff, this is an award-winning actor, well known for his role as Jesse St. James in that series Glee from around 10, 12 years ago. That was heinous. I think I watched a couple of episodes of that and had to scrub my ears and eyes out, Matt. So he was in that.
He's great in Mindhunter too on Netflix. If anyone's
that's exactly what my notes say.
He plays the main detective.
Holden. He played a character called Holden Ford. Matt, does that ring a bell?
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I remember we had to stop watching it because there was a lot of tallywhackers in that show. But yeah, no,
tallywhackers. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with tallywhackers.
No. That's why I thought when I first saw him, I was like, wow, he cuts the sort of the Doctor look, doesn't he?
See, this is
especially with that costume.
This is what that I'm a bit worried about. I mean, you know, as I said, in that time period, he'd been run off. He'd be, you know, obviously the people of that period wouldn't put up with someone with that color skin. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with this. They're going to deal with it like Bridgerton or something, or they're going to just make up their own history, or they're just going to ignore the fact that he's black.
BBC,
or it's the TARDIS. Is the TARDIS going to put out something out there, like, you know,
deception filter.
You're talking, exactly. That what Matt said. Is it going to do that? So
it might not necessarily
go in between, you know, different eras.
Sarah,
it might not necessarily be in the past. I mean, look at Voyage of the Damned. They had all that kind of
maybe. Yeah.
I mean, there are actually some rumors that I don't want to open up a box of worms here, but Jinx Monsoon's character as as they were announced as like being in a costume that's full of like pianos and stuff. So there's a lot of rumors or speculation theories that that character may be some sort of character that can manipulate reality and sort of turns the Doctor's whole world around him into a musical. So that might involve going to the 60s with very Beatlemania. So there might be some dance sequences there that it might be the same thing in the Edwardian thing, because I found it strange that the Doctor Who's doing 2 period pieces 2 weeks in a row.
So actually, I hadn't thought of that. So potentially, Matt, what you're saying, James, what you're saying is that this and the Beatles stuff we've seen, it could actually both be from the same episode.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know if it's completely unprecedented. I don't know if they did like 2 period episodes in the classic era, but it does seem a bit strange because I've never seen 2 weeks in a row of them visiting the past. It normally goes for kind of like a one in the modern times, one in the past, one in the future, one in the past, one in the future, one in modern day. You know, so kind of like makes it kind of like a pattern in a sense. So having 2 kind of like
one on a planet. That'd be fantastic.
And they do, Matt. I mean, I think that's a great point. But they only have 8 episodes. So yeah, if we were looking at 13, I'd be thinking, no, 2 episodes in the past is absolutely feasible, but perhaps not in a season of 8 episodes, Charlotte. There's only so many, because you want reselling this show to the international audience on a new streaming platform with limited screen time. You're going to want to see the past, the present, the future, and some sort of alien world, aren't you? So maybe James is right there. Maybe it's all from 1 episode, and maybe this is something to do with...
Well, we don't know because of how Doctor Who's filmed with blocks. They might just be thinking, let's get 1 block to be all the past episodes, so we can get all the sort of the costumes for 1 sort of lot of filming together, and then the next block is going to be modern. We don't know yet because it's so much
That's a good point.
Up in the air, like you said. We don't know the format of the show.
Yeah, Charlotte, it could be like, the filming locations. It might just be that.
Yeah, I was just thinking because we know, like, famously, Matt's first series, he filmed the Angel 2-parter first, but that didn't come first in the running order.
Looked very young there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so I'm just saying Doctor Who can film out of order, so we don't know if this could be because of that.
I think Doctor Who and TV shows always film out of order, majority of the time anyway.
Yeah, the more world-class the show, the more likely it is. Yeah. I think that Woodhouse 122 echoes very much my sentiment. We've talked about this a little on the show before. I'd die of embarrassment if Doctor Who did a musical episode.
Yeah, no, so would I.
I would too, Ian. And I have to say it is looking increasingly likely with more and more people who are from musical theatre being involved.
Buffy managed it. So
it was terrible.
That's the only show that's ever pulled it off.
Not.
What show was that, Dan? Which show pulled it off?
No, I thought it was terrible. I was about to mention Buffy the Vampire Slayer, actually.
Terrible.
Yeah. There are so many other shows that have done musical episodes. And
the only one that's pulled it off is Psych. That's the only one, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but Doctor Who isn't Doctor Who is one of those shows that does lend itself to being able to do anything. It's
not musicals.
No, I think James is right. It's in principle. I just don't like musical.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a planet out there where it's called the musical
planet.
I mean, there are a ton of there are a ton of reality bending episodes. There are episodes
but that's different, though.
I don't see that. Like this, if it's capable of doing this, like if like no one would complain really if Q from Star Trek Next Generation had turned Picard's whole ship into a musical, that would fit because Q can do stuff like that and can kind of bend things to his will for mischievous purposes.
Yeah, so because you can doesn't mean to say you should. Do you know what I mean?
Thing.
Yeah, of course. I'm just having flashbacks to that terrible Star Trek movie, Sarah, where Picard and was it Worf was singing Gilbert's
Sullivan. Yeah, I had that thought as well.
Oh, I know. I saw this note, I hope there's a song called "Running Up the Corridor." And
Oh God, yeah. This is getting worse the more I think about it. Aidan speculates here a musical episode of Doctor Who. No. A Beatles-themed musical episode of Doctor Who. No, hang on, that could be worth doing. I'd be keener on that with maybe sight gags and a bit of wordplay in the same way that Gareth Roberts and Russell T Davies in the script to the Agatha Christie episode, The Unicorn and the Wasp, they dotted in as many references to titles of Christie books as they possibly could in the script, just for a bit of fun. And for the people out there who, it is fun, isn't it? And I think you could do that with Beatles songs. And people
could do it with the Beatles, definitely.
There's going to be a yellow submarine in the TARDIS, isn't there?
I would just love it if. Do you remember in I think it was The Impossible Astronaut in Series 6 when the 11th Doctor had been kind of edited into a Laurel and Hardy Laurel and Hardy footage. I would love that if the Doctor and Ruby Sunday was somehow like in like a Beatles music video for the film A Hard Day's Night, or just I would love that if they were sort of edited into some Beatles footage. That would be pretty cool to see, I think.
I like how
Forrest Gump, what they did with Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly.
When we talk about the Doctor and the companion there, we don't say the Doctor and Ruby. We always say Ruby Sunday. It's because of the way it rolls. It's because of the way I think most people do, and I think it's because of the way. I think it's because of the way that it. I think it's because of the way it rolls off the tongue. It's like Amy Pond. I tend not to say Amy. I always say Amy Pond. I don't know. Amy. It's fantastic. Now, obviously, this Jonathan Broth guy, Broth. I am wondering. It's easy, that's easy for you to say. I am wondering who he could be playing.
I reckon he's Lord Byron.
Lord Byron. Well, that's a great punt. That is a great punt. But wasn't Byron in one of the silly Jodie Whittaker episodes?
Yeah, he was in that.
I'm sorry, I saw any of those.
He was in the Villa Van that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course he was. Well, I think that earlier on I was speaking to a good friend of the show, friend of the channel, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Subscribe to Sfila Betkin, everybody. If just keep your filters, make sure you can receive the signal there. But I was talking to him earlier on, and I reckon he's onto something here. I think between us we were talking about who Jonathan Groff could be playing, and I was looking at this picture, and between us we thought, could he be playing Beethoven? Do you think a slightly sexed up version of Beethoven there, Sarah? Obviously, it's the Regency period. Remember what they did with William Shakespeare when they cast Dean Lennox Kelly? They sexed him up.
It would fit with the whole musical episode and a nice little nod to Under the Lake as well, with the bootstrap paradox.
I can't even remember what that means, but
maybe they've just gone to, what's one of those things where they go to when they reenact things? Maybe it's a Jane Austen thing and they go to this Jane Austen thing. Do you know what I mean?
Murder mystery night.
So could be like, mystery. That's it. Mystery night. Yeah, could be something like that.
Can I pose a thing for anyone that doesn't really like the idea of a musical episode? What if instead of like an all-out like musical episode where they replace actual lines of dialogue with like actual singing, what if they're actually going on like a tour in the TARDIS of just influential musical people like the Beatles and Beethoven?
That could be fun.
Something that we're all a little bit more accepting of, or
personally, yes.
Yeah, as long as they don't start singing.
Well, I was going to say, maybe this is a hint to what Shooty's Doctor has got an interest in. Maybe he's got an interest in music.
Yeah, then he should be visiting Stevie Wonder then, should he not?
Isn't there a rumour about there being a jukebox in the TARDIS? Maybe that's where it comes from.
Maybe.
Oh, there was one
Motown.
In the picture that we saw at the Geeks Handbag ads. Getting the rights. I hadn't thought of this, James. Getting the rights to use Beatles songs in any concept, in he's right, in any context, is pretty much impossible. Releasing them on DVD after that with that music, I think.
Well, they had to remove it here in Australia.
Well, there you go. So I think the most we could hope would be the thing with the Unicorn and the Wasp style thing, where it would be popped into the script. So whether you would have fun with that or not, I don't know. But there's obviously shooting on Doctor Who is going to continue for the time being. I'm not quite sure how much. Also, who knows what else we're going to see next.
If they are going to do the Beatles, right, I think you would have seen pictures of people playing John Lennon and stuff like that now. I don't think I think they're gonna feature the Beatles, but I don't think they're gonna have people playing the Beatles. That's just my guess. Because at this moment in time, I think you would have seen people.
Well, we only see the location stuff, don't we? You know, we don't know what's going on. That is a bloody big facility that Bad Wolf have got in Wales. Huge studios. They may not be the volume style studios they use for the Mandalorian, but they are big places. Obviously, the location hunters continue to follow them absolutely everywhere, hanging out wherever they can, wherever they're allowed, and we continue to follow them. And they do that for the same reasons that we do this. It's all for the love of Doctor Who, and for the sheer need to know. And if you need to know more, you can find out more if you follow us. And get all of our podcasts in your ears too. They're across all major podcatchers there. Wherever you get your podcasts, you'll find Type 40 with our reviews, previews, geek outs, and deep dives. These are just some of the episodes that we've put out this year, and there's lots more to come as the anniversary continues. I was talking to somebody just a couple of nights ago, somebody very, very exciting, who's going to be joining us for a couple of those. More news on that when I have it, everybody. I can't wait to tell you some more about all of that. Lots to get excited about in the 60th anniversary year.
She let me in.
Let me in. Who on earth could we be talking about? It's
I don't know. Hope she's sober.
She's back. Yeah, she's. I think so. Welcome back, Shah.
Hello. Whenever you're ready, love. They're just sitting there like, how's your
arm muscles, Shah, after Saturday?
My arm muscles? What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not all that time.
Richard Brooks asks, what about Doomsday, Shaw? But we don't talk about Doomsday anymore. No. Not after the last time.
No.
So how have you been this week? It's good to have you back. How have you been this week?
Oh, thanks, love. I'm all right. I'm so sorry. I'm so unfashionably late, but work commitments, do that to you, don't they? But I'm all good, thank you. I can't believe not one of you said when you were talking about who could be if it's a musical thing. No one mentioned the Spice Girls. Why do I put so much effort into dressing up if no one's even going to take advantage of it?
People haven't stopped asking me about your Spice Girls moment last week in the last 7 days, Shaw. It was a showstopper.
Well, thank you so much. I'll dress up as one every week now. I'll do a different one.
Yeah, Baby Spice this week. Scary Spice next week. Just surprise
That's most
us.
weeks, Scary Spice.
Yes, and if you liked that last week and are enjoying yourself so far this week, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell too to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. Shah, you're just in time. You're gonna love this next item. I'm calling this one Sonic Boom. Now, the Sonic screwdriver, or screwdrivers, they've been in the Doctor's pockets off and on since 1968, wasn't it? Albeit with drastically different casings. The David Tennant, Chris Eccleston one, that was the must-have toy of Christmas 2006. And I think it probably was for 2007 and onwards, actually. The amount of these things, I've got at least 5 of them, for heaven's sake. So this icon in its own right and its distinctive sound effect are instantly identifiable with Doctor Who and have been since the new series hit big until 2018, of course, when when Chris Chibnall, in his infinite wisdom, Ian, he reinvented the gizmo as a well, I think we all know what it was, what it looks like. Parents were appalled. Fans hated it, most fans, and it's been the butt of jokes for 5 solid years. But it is officially no more. It has been destroyed, Ian. I'm happy to say it's been destroyed. The only bad thing about this is we haven't been permitted the privilege of seeing this happen on screen. Now, in my view, Sarah, this was the Sonic. This was the 13th Doctor's Sonic's finest moment when it was actually being created. It was all downhill from there.
Yeah, I did like it. I have to say, because obviously I'm from Sheffield, and it was made with part of it was made with Sheffield steel, and I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And then I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I don't want to be associated with that.
Ugly.
What was that, Ian?
It's ugly. It looks ugly. Do you know what I mean? And I know what it looks like, yeah. But I think that's I wouldn't put it past the BBC and Chibnall to deliberately design it that way so it looked like what everybody thinks it looks like. Do you know what I mean? I just seriously, it's just this era was so horrible. And look, let me stop there before I just get into one.
Mistake after mistake after mistake. Is there anybody? Because obviously James and Shah, you weren't here on the show with us while the agony of this was going. Is there anybody here that was fond of this? Are we being too harsh on this device, James?
Well, I mean, none of you are wrong about its phallicness and how it looks. You're definitely not wrong there. But a comment popped up saying, "I can't believe that the Doctor made that Sonic out of spoons." Like, I do kind of laugh at that a bit. I do kind of think it's quite unique that the Doctor had made a sonic screwdriver out of just regular stuff.
It was a nice idea in principle, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a nice thought that the Doctor made that out of just regular things that they'd find. That she found just lying around, So I definitely did, kind of. But if you're trying to make this kind of like sci-fi kind of thing, like a sonic screwdriver that can, scan everything and lock and unlock doors and stuff, it's a bit too hard to believe that you can do that in a Sheffield steel factory or whatever. Like, it's difficult to imagine that you can do that with just make a sonic screwdriver do that with just what's there. Like, you need a bit of your TARDIS with it, don't you? I mean,
yeah, I'd have thought so. I mean, that scene is my favourite of the entire Jodie Whittaker era there, where she makes the sonic screwdriver. I had a little bit of hope for the era then, Shah. Did you ever warm to that gadget? Did it ever seem like the Sonic to you?
No.
Don't start making up your own jokes, you dirty devil. I didn't say anything.
However, I do find it funny that no women have commented on the phallic shape, and I collect all the screwdrivers. So and I have collected this one as well. And I'm no expert on marital aids. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think it looks like one. And I'm also not an expert on the male form either. So I can't come in on that either. But it kind of does, doesn't it? It's a little bit.
Let's have a close look.
Do you want that? Do you actually want that? It lights up. I didn't even do anything to it then. But
it's got a life. It's got a life and a mind of its own, which means that maybe. I won't say it. I won't say it. Okay, so it is no more. I'm happy to say, Matt, it is no more. But you said, where can I? But yeah, if you have missed it, this is where you can savor the moment. So it happened within the pages of Doctor Who magazine, issue 590, and the comic strip on page 56, and this is part 7 of the current comic strip by Alan Barnes, a great writer, Alan Barnes, and Lee Sullivan, the great Doctor Who comic strip artist who's been off and on Doctor Who magazine for all these decades. But he had the privilege of illustrating the moment where the dildo driver was exterminated by the Daleks in part 7 of Liberation of the Daleks there. And the Doctor. I know. So yeah, the Doctor was sort of mortified, or did his best version of mortified, and it's gone. It's ashes.
Oh God Almighty!
Not a great position that the 14th Doctor's in there, is it?
No. With hindsight, James, I think Lee could have thought better of that one, but yes. So it's gone. It's gone, Ian.
Thank God.
Are you disappointed, though, Ian, that we're not going to get this, in all seriousness, that this has been done on a comic strip and not on screen?
No, for me, again, I would reiterate this. I always consider what happens in Doctor Who canon, even the Jodie era, unfortunately, comics and Big Finish and all that. I just don't think. I just think they're just trying to cash in or whatever. I just think what they do in Doctor Who's show is canon, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, so this doesn't matter to me.
It's licensed merchandise, and this has all been approved. In fact, this is the comic strip that Russell T Davies put. Actually sort of, I wouldn't say conceived it, but I think he sat and worked the story out with Alan Barnes about where it was going to go. So this is entirely...
I've just read that text. I went everywhere with that.
Oh, God almighty.
Yeah, he says, you killed my Sonic, my Swiss Army Sonic, made from Sheffield steel. Oh, he looks
dear.
Yeah. I mean, Adam, the Geeks Handbag, he liked the idea, just like you, James, of the Doctor making it. I just wish we'd have seen more of that creative side to that particular Doctor. It was potentially interesting, wasn't it, Shah? But they never went anywhere with it. Just like
capacity.
I couldn't agree more, Matt.
That because I love that sort of mad scientist inventor sort of vibe that I've gotten for about 30 seconds. And I feel like we could have had a lot more. There's a lot more you could do with that.
In the goggles and with the apron on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I'm so done with talking about an era that ain't even on anymore. Like, whatever. It happened.
It's over. It's done. So this does feel like the last gasps of that. It's not going to blight our screens. It's not going to blight our screens anymore. And the 14th Doctor will be spared that. We know that he's holding something else. This was filming nearly a year ago now, believe it or not. I think it was like last June sometime at David Tennant in Camden there. And so we knew that he'd got a new Sonic. We'd seen it out on location there. And it's not a proper look. You know, we can have a guess as to how the full device may look, but we've got to wait until November until we see it in action. The sound effect was heard on location, which is slightly bizarre, but I can't wait to see this new version of it. It looks very 2005, doesn't it, Sarah? It looks right.
Yeah, it does. It looks
Is that on his hand, Dan?
I think
that's his hand's got like some weird metallic stuff on it. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a stickler for.
Yeah, it does look like there's something there. But what do you think? What do you think, Sarah? Are you reassured by this?
I am. It looks like a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
Do you think? I think it looks like a little Cyberman. Look at the Cyberman helmet. Yeah.
A little.
See how I noticed? Like, I don't notice the big picture. I just noticed little tiny.
I still think Matt's is the best designed.
Why? I think it's
because I really love the design of Matt's one. I think Matt's one is fantastic.
Matt's Sonic is bloody overkill. I'm sorry, but just blooming.
Yeah.
It comes up at the end like a blooming one of those claw grabbers that you get in the game. You know,
Toy Story.
Comes up looking like that. It's like it's bloody overkill. It's just like even like I thought exactly the same thing that the 10th Doctor said in Day of the Doctor. You're compensating there, I think.
Do you know what? Do you know what, James? You're not going to be invited on Type 4 like that, are you?
I'm sorry. I will bow out now.
You know what?
No, honestly,
when it comes to the 11th Doctor's era, is very much Ian's era. I've always preferred the slimmer. I'm sort of with you, James. To be honest, I've got the toy of the 11th, and I'm quite fond of it. But I do prefer the slimmer one. I think it just looks like it would fit inside somebody's inside pocket a lot better. 11's Sonic is beautiful though, says Aidan McGee. So he's with Ian. Loves the claws.
I think it's a really good design. Do you know what? I didn't like David Tennant's one because he has to push it with his finger for it to come up, doesn't he? It doesn't go up automatically. He has to push it with his finger.
See, I liked how much it matched his TARDIS. I really like that sort of synergy between the two of them.
I like that. The idea that it is of the TARDIS.
Yes, it really felt like that.
Rest, I suppose. More to the point. Rest in pieces. The dildo driver. It's over. It's gone. And yet another piece of that god awful past that's drifting off there. Now, maybe you disagree. Maybe you're going to miss that. Or maybe you think they're missing the trick there. Or would you have enjoyed savouring it on screen? Let us know in the comment section by all means, and we'll get back to you there. But are you looking forward to seeing a new Sonic screwdriver in action when the 14th Doctor whips it out? on screen at some point in the future in those specials. Okay. Now we're coming up to our break, the Type 40 live ad break. Of course we are, and it's that time where you can have your own golden moment. Now we'll be deciphering and decrypting some recent signals. They're not those kind of signals, Ian, but there's some recent signals coming from the BBC pointing towards the 60th anniversary Doctor Who event. But before we get to that, let's see if you guys out there watching on YouTube and Facebook, let's see if you can make sense of this and what you can work out that connects these golden moments, faces, and voices from the lovely, telly, cozy, golden past. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'm off to Point Percy at the porcelain.
Am I?
What's the difference between a jar of salmon paste and this jar of Sutherland spread? Here's a clue. For each salmon that has to go into a paste, Sutherland's put 2 into their spread. And for every turkey the paste needs to have, 2 turkeys go into Sutherland's. So when Sutherland say they're twice as tasty, you know how they do it. Trouble is, you have to make twice as many sandwiches. Sutherland spreads, twice as tasty.
This Unipart Super Multigrade is no ordinary motor oil. It has special additives which actually help to fight corrosion and wear in your engine. Now, I'd have thought that would have been enough, but no. Unipart insist from now till the end of this year, if you buy this can, they'll give you this can, free. Well, that'll save you more than a few coppers. Get it? I would if I were you.
Oh, you really cut corners when you decorate a cake with Home Pride's new top and fill. No mixing, no messing. In chocolate, vanilla, coffee and lemon flavours. Enough to top and fill one of these sponges or lots of these. Lovely.
Home Pride's new top and fill. It's simply delicious.
Somebody says, you'll be better off with an M&B. And out it comes. These boys bowl better on M&B bitter. Good and strong, sparkling bright and clear. And me, I'm for an M&B export. The best pale ale of all. You'd be better off with an M&B. It's marvellous beer.
Hello, yes, welcome back. We asked you, didn't we, what connects all the adverts and the faces there in our lovely Type 40 ad break, the who's and the what's and the heaven knows why's, what they were doing and all that kind of thing. So there was a Doctor Who connection there. We're going to check out in the live chat and see who's worked out, who's decrypted it all. What do you think? Anybody confident that they've got an answer to that? Let's have a show of hands.
We haven't got Simon here.
Oh no, we haven't, have we? We haven't. Let's go and take a look and see what's going on. Well, yes, okay. So we had. Yes, I think we have got a couple of people who've got it. So we had Nerys Hughes there advertising salmon paste. Nerys was a bit of what they used to call a sex symbol in the 1970s in her role in the Liverbirds, the classic British sitcom there. And there she was as Todd, opposite to the Fifth Doctor in Kinder. Next was Michael Robbins from On the Buses. We know him from, don't we? He was advertising something called Top Fill, which sounds like one of Charles Marois, doesn't it? But it was actually some product from Home Pride, something to do with baking. I couldn't really work out what was going on there, Ian. Did you? Were you working out what was happening?
I don't know.
No, I couldn't either. No, Stratford Johns from the Z Cars. He was advertising motor oil, and Stratford Johns, we would have seen him as Monarch, the frog-like, the big bogey. I was going to say he was a frog. He was actually a big bogey in Fort of Doomsday. Michael Robbins said he was in The Visitation. Of course he was, as the highwayman Richard Mace. And lastly, with possibly the most offensive Brummy accent that I have ever heard, was the veteran actress Beryl Reid advertising M&B Export Bitter. So yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah. Anybody have a clue what's connecting those things? You must know now. The pictures on screen.
They're all on Doctor Who.
They're all on Doctor Who. Well, yes, they were all. Peter Harrington, I think he's got it. They were first season guest stars from season 19, the first season of Peter Davison's Doctor. There, Vanessa Law says, "I need some Fifth Doctor right now. More comfort than a whiskey." Yeah, Peter Harrington's got it there. So they're all guest stars. Oh, and so has Woodhouse 122. You're quite right. These really well-known TV faces from the 60s right through to the 80s and the 90s were all guest stars on season 19 of Doctor Who, which you can get on Blu-ray, the standard edition and the limited edition. That's all out. So yeah, nice adverts. I love that sort of thing. They remind me of when I was a kid, when I was a nipper. Yeah, so welcome back. Welcome back to Type 40 Live, your live stream magazine format Doctor Who show here, clocking all the fixed and not so fixed points throughout the Whoniverse, both off and on screen, and whether you prefer the fourth or the fifth dimensions. I'm still here with the panel. Starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham, the mega geeky and David Diaz. We've got Shah from Geek Rambles. We've got James, our guest James, the Who addict, and we've got Queen Charlotte Shields there too, with the mighty Matt Pott as well in Tasmania. They're coming up from the bottom.
Timing.
It was.
Hey, I blew myself off.
Congratulations.
Most of us would if we could. So let us know what you think. Sorry, Sean. Let us know what you think of all of this and everything that's to come through the comments section, and get in touch with us through our social media on Instagram and Twitter, and obviously keep those comments coming in the comments section. Let's see what other people have got to say here. And they're all Davison guest stars, says the Retro Doc, and people chatting away there about times past and maybe speculating about the future. Keegan's in the chat. Hi, Keegan. He says, I'm loving Capaldi and Clara. Yeah, there they are. He's teaching her a thing or two. What's
that on the blackboard there?
I'll tell you what that is.
It's not just me, is it?
There's a running theme in this.
It's a new spaceship. New chat.
Oh dear.
It's a rocket.
It's a rocket, is it?
It's a rocket. It's a rocket. Get your minds out of the gutter.
Oh dear.
I have no idea. I've no idea what you're talking about. Because here we are getting stuck into the countdown for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. It's all happening sort of in bits and bobs. I say it's all will become clear, I think, in the passage of time. And for the best part of 2 weeks now, regular programming on BBC One has been interrupted, which is, in my view, if you've seen the One show, that's a pretty good idea. But it's been interrupted. I'd rather watch a couple of hours worth of fuzz than listen to Gary Bloody Lineker talking about anything, come to think of it. But during the course of these little bursts in particular, we've been revealed familiar faces. Some images too have flickered that we've seen before and some that we haven't. And there's been lots of snippets of new dialogue. The only drawback was a lot of it was bloody backwards. So fortunately, there are people out there who've been able to decipher some of this show, which never ceases to amaze me how inventive some Doctor Who fans are. We have coined these here on Type 40 and Type 40 Live. These are the tingle teasers. So they're not.
Dan has made that term up.
Yeah, don't lump us all in this one, for God's sake, Dan.
Yeah, so have you been tingled and have you been teased, or teased and tingled? That's the question. I've been following these as fortunately people have been sort of snapping them, James. It's amazing how quick some people are with this, ripping them off the TV, whacking them on YouTube or Twitter, and then reversing them and analysing them and picking them apart. Basically, so lazy sods like me don't have to.
I think it's probably Russell's intention. I think it's probably his intention. I think we're definitely back to the, what he used to do back in the previous Russell era, where we'd get little hints at who was the villain, you know, your Bad Wolf, your Torchwood, your Harold Saxons, you know. So that was definitely the most one of the most exciting parts about his era, is trying to guess, okay, where's the little word we've got to look at for the next 12 episodes that's building up to the big finale and everything. So this might be the start of that again, and I'm excited for it. You know, I saw those teasers and I was like, oh God, what is it? What is it? But can't wait to find out.
And I suppose, Charlotte, I mean, you know, we're grizzled followers of this show, and we jump on every split second of this stuff. But it's also there, isn't it, for the people who are, some people do still watch BBC One live on the night. And when programming gets broken like this by something, and there's a flash of David Tennant, who in Britain, he very much is the most popular, certainly of the new Doctors, isn't he? So it's all sort of, it's not quite subliminal marketing, but it's effective, isn't it? I think it does ramp people up. What do you think?
Yeah, no, because it's got that interactive nature to it. It's not just you sit and you watch it and you go, oh, that's nice. Like there's something to make you think afterwards, and that's what the backwards audio has been. And I always said, if you can make your marketing interactive, if you can get your fan base doing something, it's always going to get the interest going more. And I think it's been a lovely countdown actually to the first, maybe, fingers crossed, proper trailer, because I've been saying for ages, why haven't we got a proper trailer yet? They're coming out in November, and I thought it was odd the BBC hadn't started. So now I like the fact that they are starting, and like I said, it's a countdown. It feels like, it does feel like, here's a little bit until we feed you the proper piece, which is hopefully this weekend we will see.
Yes, so this is the deal. So these are the tingle teasers. And they've been sneaking them out here and there, roughly at junctions of every 2 or 3 days. And it's the work of Bad Wolf and Russell T Davies. Sarah, do you think that's what the T stands for? Tingle? Do you think that could be? We've got it.
Could well be. Could well be.
I have to know the right people to ask, I suppose, to get an answer to that one. But I thought it'd be fun to take stock of where we are. We've had 3 of these so far, and to see what's been deciphered and where it could go. Ian's mind, he was slightly blown by this when we first looked at it. So this was the first one. This was the first one that we got. I think the advice is to brace yourselves. Here we go. This is a replay of that. Oh, got him. Yeah, Merkera. Oh, well, it's hard to know what to look at first, isn't it, Sarah? It's gone as soon as you've seen it.
It's gone. It's exciting. It just seeing that shot of the TARDIS, you know, panning up, and David, and I think that was the hand as well. Oh, just glorious.
Wasn't that?
We looked at it before. James?
Wasn't that the original Russell T Davies theme tune in the background? Did
I
anyone
think it was.
So.
I think it was.
Yeah, that excites me enough. Like just a few seconds of that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yep, I'm there.
It's enough to take you back and go, this is the Doctor Who that I love, and they're like, oh, we're getting something new, but it still feels the same, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a good mixture, isn't it, Starry?
Yeah.
Familiar but fresh at the same time.
It knows to pull on the past just enough to hook you in.
Yeah, I think before Russell goes into some genuinely new territory, it looks like with Series 14, it looks like he's taking his TARDIS and going back to 2008, which, you know what, that's my favourite series of Doctor Who, Series 4, so I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
Well, make no mistake, he's trying to drag in the fans of that era with using David Tennant again, because I get the feeling that they are slightly nervous and not really totally convinced about Shooty. So if they were, they would never have David Tennant back. So what they want to do is want to bring back the old fans to slowly get them into the Shooty era, and that's why they've got him back. So, and that kind of makes me a bit uneasy, really. But you know, it is what it is at the end of the day, right? So,
well, it has got a Venus flytrap. So there you go, Ian.
I had initially thought, Matt, that though I initially thought that those excerpts that we get before and after these tingle teasers were legitimate BBC shows, but apparently they're part of it as well. They're fake too. So the Venus flytrap, as you said, that represents something as well. Maybe the villain of the piece. But I hadn't noticed. It was Charlotte that pointed out. I mean, your eyesight's better than mine. You saw the jar before I did, didn't you? But we get that. We get the shot of the TARDIS, which I since have found out that's from an old episode too. That's from Planet of the Dead. But we get the unit, what looks like a unit trooper there with the glowing eyes. It looks very spooky, and the Doctor looks very pensive, and he looks very worried. And if the Doctor looks worried, Charlotte, so am I.
Yeah, well, I noticed the hand because that's got such a big story influence, that moment. Especially if you're like me, her first Doctor Who was Russell's era. And obviously we got the Meta Crisis from that. And we got Dr. Donna. So those are two really important story beats.
Do you reckon he's trying to redo and destroy the Jodie era? Because in the other one, they mentioned Gallifrey, didn't they? Backwards.
Don't jump ahead.
Hey, I'm a fan.
Chill your beans, mate. Relax.
We'll come to that in a moment. Bloody
right,
okay.
Jesus.
So, but in this first one, we get flickering image letters, numbers, and all sorts of things, and things in binary too. So somebody deciphered the fact that there was a binary reference to Doctor Who Weekly, and the original to the digits 19 and 26. Which apparently is a reference to the issues of Doctor Who Weekly that the Star Beast comic strip, which of course that's where Beep the Meep first appeared. Beep the Meep is heavily, it is. Beep the Meep is going to be in this anniversary event season, so that's been identified. You think, God, that's a very, very deep dive, and then you look at the rest of the stuff that people have found out too. So so when you play that in reverse, it does turn out that Donna is saying something. She says, "Why did this face come back?" So is she referring to the Doctor? Because obviously her memory was wiped, wasn't it, Sarah? Is it coming back to her memory? So there's that. And there's also, you hear the Doctor's voice saying cryptic, "I hate that," as if that's almost meta, as if to say, I don't really like these tingle teasers any more than you do. But we also see a binary, another binary code says EV1305. A lot of people got that right away. I didn't even see that, but they reaffirmed that later on. We'll come to that later too. But as regards marketing, Ian, somebody mentioned in the comments section a moment ago, we got Gary Akers said, when I saw this teaser trailer, first thing I thought was that'll wind Ian up. What do you think about this mode of marketing? Does it work for you, or do you just think I just wish they'd get on with it? What do you think?
I don't like it personally. I think it's rubbish. Yeah, I mean, Starry said, "Oh yeah," and Charlotte says, "Yeah, it'll make you figure out." It'll make it interact and stuff like that. But I'm like, just give me a trailer. Why are you giving me this rubbish for? I don't want to see bits and stuff and start wondering about this, And also, again, I would say that hairstyle on David Tennant makes him look really old. I have no idea why they've stuck that on his head.
It's called build-up, Ian. It's called build-up.
I don't care. I don't care.
You need a bit of foreplay first before you get on to
Here we go again.
The name of the product that Tennant uses.
I understand, James. I understand.
There you go.
James's tips of the week.
Absolutely. You can come back, James. All's forgiven, mate.
All's forgiven. I think that generally speaking, there's lots of people who seem to be enjoying this. Oh my God, Dan! Does Ian like anything? As the side
he loves his jammy dodgers. That's his limit.
I love a lot of
he
stuff.
likes Jaffa cakes and Karen Gillan and possibly them both together.
Crisps
and tarts.
we hear Donna speaking that, and she says, "Yeah, why did this?"
I like tarts too.
But you know what?
Not those kind of tarts.
David Tennant's Doctor is the 14th Doctor, right, Dan? That's right. So she can't die because he is not the other Doctor. He's this new Doctor. So if she looks at him, he's a completely different Doctor. So it's not going to affect her. So I think that's how he's working it into the script. I think so. Yeah, well, whatever.
You know what? That's a perception filter. Who mentioned the perception filter earlier on when we were talking about something else? Yeah, that was you as well, wasn't it? That was you as well.
And Matt. Sorry. Matt.
Yeah, don't take the credit for me.
I'm sorry, mate. Sorry.
Your sentiment there, James, and he says, "I'm just excited to see Donna again. My fave companion. Fave. She's even better, isn't it?
No,
I know it's Matt's favourite.
Yeah, she's definitely my favourite that David Tennant had.
She's my favourite.
Matt loves her.
Has a message of hope
Clara.
for here. Says, as long as there are new episodes, there is hope. And Keegan says, I think we all deserve to enjoy the new era. I think we deserve to give it a bloody good chance. Yeah, and particularly when they're trying to involve us and engage us, Shah, because that's what this is for, isn't it? It's all, at the end of the day, it's all marketing, isn't it? It's all PR. It's all a reminder why people like the show in the first place. Is it working for you? What do you think about all this?
Oh, of course it's working for me. I'll take anything I can get. I
need Simon back.
Yeah.
What? No. Why? I mean, I love Simon, but like, what?
No, he'll keep us all in check for any weird.
We do. Oh, of course he does. Bless him. But no, of course. Why wouldn't I get excited about something that I've loved since I was like 10? Like, of course I'm going to get excited about it, and it's. I go back every now and again and watch the trailer that we got at the end of the Power of the Doctor, and just think, yes, this is Doctor Who that I remember, and get really excited about. So yeah, when I see that, I'm like, great. I love Donna. She's my favourite companion as well. I loved their sorry, my phone is going mad. I love David Tennant and Donna together, so it's always a good thing for me. And I think because I've always said, people complain about fan service a lot, but I actually think fan service is great if it's done right. And I think that is exactly what it's done. So yeah, bring it back. I'm all for it. I'm really excited. Again, I've had a chat with people just while I was on my way back from work about, people not giving it a chance and not getting excited. That's fine. You can do what you need to do. You've still got 50+ years of stuff to go back on, but why not just give it a chance? What's the worst that can happen? You watch it and you think this is rubbish and turn it off again? Cool.
Beautifully put. I can't argue with that. JFO says that as if I'd argue with you, my lovely. And JFO says the only way Ian will be happy is if at the end of the trailer on Saturday, Matt Smith appears.
Yes. Not just Ian. I will be such a fangirl.
I would be so happy if Matt came back.
I think I'm starting to realise what Ian's favourite scene was in Deep Breath.
Here we have. So this is our second tingle. So Donna fans will have loved this even more. Unfortunately, they're all over the place. There's something bad's happening to the Doctor and Donna there. It's been redacted, Sarah. Are you on the edge of your seat in this spacey backdrop there? So this looks like something out of a
it's exciting. It's just I'm getting. So is that we kept thinking that's Unit then covering it up?
I think that's the inference, isn't it? That it's some sort of it's so you can't see this yet. We're going to scramble it. We're going to
But I like. But again, it's just an absolute joy to see them together, and Yeah.
I think I just saw Jinx.
Have you just got a magic eye moment, Matt?
3D image.
I need new glasses.
It's the 60th anniversary. Of course, there's going to be fan service, and this is the one time where.
Do you think people are forgetting that, Sarah, with all the excitement of the new, that this is an anniversary event? Because it doesn't, at the moment, we've seen so little of it. It's all, and there's just the two main cast members. Do you think that we are forgetting that this is meant to be, this is a celebration?
I think so, yeah. I think it has been kind of been lost. Because obviously a lot of the announcements have been to do with the next season. But yeah, it is. We've got things to celebrate. We've got things to look back. I would love, fuller references. And even if they are there for the sake of it, it's the anniversary special. This is the one time it's justified.
I think the thing is because I mean, because I obviously Ian and Charlotte are like me; they absolutely adore Matt Smith. So they want him to come back. And I was at the time you were saying it, I was thinking, oh, but why? I don't want those doctors in it. And I completely forgot that it is an anniversary. So even from that, I'm thinking, oh yeah, of course. And I think it's because, you know, I think you're quite right, Sarah, when especially because it's the 60th, people don't really count that as like a big number. You know, you usually go with like the 25, 50, 75 and so on. So I didn't even think about it being the 60th. And like Sarah said, I think it's because there's so many announcements about what's coming in Shooty's era that we're not even thinking about, you know, the fact that this is an anniversary. So bring everyone back.
Yeah, I think the BBC needs to really refocus that, honestly. I think they do need to get the fans.
Yeah, sorry, Charlotte, go on. I'm interrupting.
I know what you mean, because there's been so much for Shooty, and we've not seen a lot actually for the 60th yet. If you think about the grand scheme, we really haven't. So I do think the BBC now, this needs to be the push to refocus a bit and go, right, we've got this 60th, we've got these specials, and hopefully it's a massive celebration. I agree, it should be a celebration.
They're focusing on the wrong things, aren't they? They're focusing on the wrong things.
I suppose, though, from what you've just said, though, Charlotte, and kind of what you're saying too, Ian, but I suppose the more they show us of what's going on with shooting, and they show us that because they know there are people out there taking location pictures, and they would rather us have something nice and proper to look at and something that's at least lit properly. So what's all that's creeping out? Maybe taking our attention and our eye off these specials and not speculating too much. Maybe they're doing us a favour, because we can't see it for another 6 months, and we are probably all going slightly mad with anticipation, just like Aidan McGear on YouTube here, who says, I just can't wait to watch the first good new episodes of Doctor Who in 6 years live. I haven't been this excited since before then. Keegan says, yes, just give it a chance. Geek Rambles, he's very much on the same level as you there. Yeah, so there's not much new in this. We get the 14th Doctor and Donna sort of hurtling across the floor of a spacecraft. It looks like the same spacecraft they were in, or a bunker or something, in the Christmas trailer that we got, that 4 minutes worth one, and everything else is sort of broken images and more numbers and words flickering around. Now, in this, we do see, we hear talk first of all of, as you said, Ian, the Doctor says she mentioned Gallifrey, doesn't he? She mentioned Gallifrey, so that's the first inkling of a reference back. Poor Gallifrey. It's been lost, destroyed, brought back, destroyed. I can't really keep up with Gallifrey at the moment, but it was nice to hear David Tennant say it. I think he says the word Gallifrey really, really well. Which is probably
very, very, very gravelly.
I'm just hoping they retcon the retcon.
Don't do anything with it. Just forget about it. I think someone mentioned it on a stream a few weeks ago. A bit like how, you know, the 8th Doctor's meant to be half human. In the end, we all just forgot. I think it was Lovely Simon, actually.
He is half human.
Yeah, but as long as they say he's a Time Lord from Gallifrey, it's cool.
Yeah.
But they don't have to. He doesn't have to keep visiting it all the time. But he is
That's what I'm
Gallifrey.
saying.
He is a Time Lord. There is no little black portal baby.
And he is half human.
That's what I'm trying to. Okay, but that's what I'm trying to get at, is that you don't have to believe it.
You can't possibly mean we want to retcon this, can you?
I want to retcon it. I definitely.
Oh
and
my
look,
God,
there's a
the
lot of
job's
fans
there.
out there that want that retconned. You know that, but I mean,
I know.
I think Char's right. I think, you know, if we ignore it, then hopefully it will just disappear from our mind, and we'll never have to think about that error again. But I would love it.
I understand what Char's saying is the fact that, you know, like, just mention Gallifrey, but just don't go there or say, oh, it's back or whatever, anything like that. Just forget about it.
What I love though is that, because what I actually loved about the RTD era, but bear in mind I hadn't watched Classic Who by this point, so I didn't know what Gallifrey was. So I loved its mystery, because I was so like, oh my God, what is this planet that he's from? And I said before any of this time as child, whatever, the Master Destroyer, Gallifrey, whatever, just give that. I wanted it mystified again. I didn't want it to that extent mystified, but I wanted it mystified again.
I mean, when they went back to it in the Stolen Earth, and it was just a memory, you know, and I remember seeing that and the music and everything, and I was just like, I just loved it. but I didn't want to go back there. You know, it was just something in the past.
And I think it looks rubbish, to be fair, because that's what happens. I think when you do take the mystery out of something, you actually, because in your mind, your imagination is so powerful.
Yeah, it can never live up to what you've got in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I looked at it and I thought, oh, this is a bit rubbish actually, but never mind.
What's that all about?
Thank you for all the comments in the live chat on YouTube and Facebook. Got some absolute gold here. Mark Milford reminds us that new Star Trek was dead. And then we got Star Trek Picard Season 3. That's full of fan service, and it still gave us a great story. You've got Vanessa Law here, who says, in reference to your point about Matt Smith there, Charlotte and Shah and Ian, it's not going to happen, Shah. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think Russell T Davies would share it with any other Doctor. Matt has already said that he wasn't even asked. Now, here's my view, Vanessa. Lovely to have you back, Vanessa. Firstly, here's my view. I'm not going to shoot the messenger. In my view, whatever Matt Smith says, Matt Smith's an actor. He's also signed an NDA. I do like the man says. I sincerely would take it with a pinch of salt. Also, Russell T Davies was the guy who only a few years ago said that he would make a mini-series just starring the 10th and the 11th Doctors. So I think that I can't see any reason to believe that Russell wouldn't share it with another Doctor when everything that he said would point to the direction that maybe he should. So I'd say if you want to see Matt, I think he's coming. I sincerely do. Raymond Williams says Matt is too good a Doctor to just make a brief cameo. So what do you think of Vanessa's comment there, Shah? Because that was directed at you.
Hi, Vanessa. I love speaking to her, but she loves Matt Smith as well, so I can totally understand why she wants him there too. I don't believe a word that any of Doctor Who actors or production team say, because you had Donna, Catherine Tate, sorry, Catherine, wherever you are, saying that she would love to go back to Doctor Who, but she'd never been asked. Like, that's the standard thing. Like, you do just sort of go whatever.
10 days later, she was there on set.
I know. Like, she was in Liverpool. Oh, I wasn't doing Doctor Who. Oh, I think you might have been. But it was, it's one of those, isn't it? So I'm happy. But what my question I was going to ask, and oh my God, please help. I'm already regretting asking it, but it's going through my head.
Is it obscene?
No, Dan, I'm not you. But I just thought, I'm joking. But I just thought, if he's going to bring loads of Doctors back, if he brings Jodie back, do you think it'd be any better with his writing?
No, I don't want Jodie to come back at all.
You can't just pick and choose what Doctors come back. All the Doctors,
of course you can.
Yes, I fucking can. This was where
rubbish.
Looking back to our tingle, this was where we got this. We got
want
this
to get
flash.
people back, not send them away.
Some people reversed this image, Matt, from that trailer there. After Gallifrey, we got this. So we got this tracing route to Eurovision 13/05/2023. This was shown backwards in all that interference there. That was definitely there. So this.
God, I love Doctor Who fans. I really do.
Oh God, me too. There was a voiceover saying this is the edge of creation at the beginning, and then we had this. I mean, the Eurovision is probably it is the edge of something. I'm not a big fan. I've got to be honest. So there we are. So that's more directions, more arrows. Sorry, pointing in the direction of Eurovision night, the Eurovision Song Contest on the 13th of May. 2023. Obviously, at this moment, James, I certainly quaked with the idea, the fact that to get any answer to this, I may have to sit through 4 hours of that tribe.
Could that be the trailer? Could that be the trailer that we're getting on Eurovision? Because I am getting so irritated with the BBC. Like, I get it. They want fans or general audiences entirely to basically tune in and watch the trailer when it comes on. So they put Doctor Who trailers before or after like big events, like Jodie's announcement as the Doctor was I think before Wimbledon or something.
Yeah, the final.
So it was, they put it before or after these big sporting events or great big events like Eurovision and stuff like that. So I am a little bit annoyed at that because I'm like, I don't like sport, BBC. Why are you making me watch?
Yes,
Wimbledon? Why are you making me
geek.
watch football?
Yes.
You're making me watch football for 5 minutes so that I can watch Doctor Who. Why are you doing that to me?
I'm very suspicious of anybody who claims to be a geek and enjoys football too. I sincerely am.
There you go.
Should I show myself out?
Well, not before we give you the third tingle shot, because here it comes. Brace yourself. This is the one. Ian, it's nearly over, mate. It's nearly over. So this is the third. This is the third of the tingles.
I've got to say this was my favourite.
What's your favourite one, Sarah? The tumbling cards. A dancing man. He's playing with his ball, Shaw. So,
God, right, honestly.
the falling.
Oh, damn.
The falling. So we've got the
Enjoyed that one,
falling.
didn't they?
The falling playing cards, and the images are getting more frantic. This one was slightly more substantial, Ian. This was a whole full second longer than the other tingles, and we saw some of this footage is the things that we saw being filmed again last summer with the guest star Neil Patrick Harris. They haven't confirmed who is playing yet, but if it isn't the Celestial Toymaker, quite frankly, I'd be amazed. I think we all know this is.
And it just
happening,
looks.
Sarah.
I mean, I can't wait to see him in action because he just looks like he's just relishing it. He's going to be such a brilliant villain.
Look at that bottom right photo.
Yeah.
It's great.
Maniacal.
It's just so
I think is the word.
sinister. That's what I just love about him.
He needs a mustache, I think.
No,
twirly one.
Why is that,
Every
mate?
evil person on the planet needs a mustache.
Twirly.
Twirly one.
Oh, I thought you meant like Des Lynam style, but you're talking about. I'm with you.
I have no idea who Des
I'm
Lynam is,
not.
but anyway.
Yeah, Google Des Lynam.
That's too pantomime. Like it's not camp enough. I don't need a twirling.
It's like
mustache.
Murph Hughes, is it?
Now, in this one, Charlotte, we get some dialogue where if you play it back, the Doctor says he's in everyone's heads. Now he must mean the Toymaker with that, hadn't he?
Well, I think I saw a lot of fans after this go, okay, Russell, thanks for telling us it's the Toymaker. I don't know the character as much, but the more I see of Neil Patrick Harris, the more he's increasingly being what I'm looking forward to for the new aspect. He's the thing that I'm just whenever I see photos, he just has this air, and that's what I love about him, that he's powerful, but he doesn't care almost. He's got this just, I can do whatever I want energy and you can't stop me. And that's what you need for a villain.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
The second, the picture on the right, or the top right, you almost get Joker vibes.
Yes, that's what I mean, this chaoticness about him. It's brilliant.
That's what Toymaker's all about.
I always say, James, that Doctor Who doesn't happen in a bubble, and it does respond to popular culture. I think it always has. I don't think it rips it off, but I think sometimes it pastiches, sometimes it riffs off popular culture and our associations with
very cabaret, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is very.
And of course, Neil Patrick Harris, isn't it? He is also a singer, an all-round performer, isn't he? He's done Broadway and that kind of thing. So and here, and we've seen him play all manner of characters on screen over the last three decades, 3.5 decades, and I was very excited to see him join the cast. Yeah, we talked about it last summer. And the idea that he's playing a character like the Toymaker, I think it's irresistible. It's perfect for him, and I think it's a great match for David Tennant. I think they're around the same age, and I think that a real nemesis for the Doctor should be contemporary to them in some way, Ian, like incarnations of the Master. It just looks to me. This just looks right.
Well,
I hate that hairstyle.
It looks okay.
Question to all of you: do we all think that the Celestial Toymaker? I'm going to be really annoyed if it's not him now, because that's all I'm calling him.
Yeah, me too.
But do we think that Neil Patrick Harris's character? Do you think that he's got something to do with the Doctor's glitch in his regeneration, that he's went back to an old face, or do you think that they are separate problems that the Doctor's having?
I think the Toymaker has I think he already has or is interfering with reality and the characters. I think the characters' perceptions and maybe our perceptions as viewers too. I think this could get. I mean, several sources have reached out to me about this in the past. You know, I know people get very angry when we say these kinds of things because I can't tell you who's told me this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a source, and they wouldn't tell me anything again. But I do know that Russell T Davies does view this as a salvage job. He's very aware that Chris Chibnall left this show, and more to the point, for his purposes as a writer going forward, he left this mythology in a terrible state. Again, I can't tell you who's told me that, but I know
I don't think you need to, Dan. You don't need a source to work that out. You know what I mean?
Kind of suspect that it's kind of a retcon, really. You know, maybe all of that Jodie era never happened. You know what I mean? So it could this could be a huge retcon. If it is, a lot of fans will be happy.
I don't think it'll be retconned.
It might not be. You know,
I don't think it'll be retconned as in sort of that never happened, like Bobby in the Shower kind of retcon. But I think for the popular audience and for the sake of being able to carry on and to begin telling stories in a feasible way again, then it will quarterize that era and annex it. So it's still there for the people who did enjoy it. Both of them can still enjoy it and feel like it matters. But for the rest of us, we can just say, okay, get back up to speed with this show.
I just had a thought. You know, if he's the Toymaker and he makes everybody thinks what he wants them to think, maybe this Doctor is not the 14th Doctor. Maybe everything that he sees is the 14th Doctor, but maybe it's shooty, really. Maybe he doesn't have a regeneration. Maybe when he puts reality back where it's supposed to be, it's always been shooty.
And that's why he's like, can someone tell me what the hell is going on here?
What the hell is going on? Yeah.
I know.
Maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe it's that. Who knows? I mean, it is a thought, isn't it?
Yeah. I like that.
It's a good thought as well. Yeah. It is a good thought.
There you go.
Well, there's
Charlotte?
I was going to say, there's almost this theme, isn't there, of things sort of being undone a bit, or things being going back with Donna's memory. What's they're going to do with that? With Gallifrey being mentioned, with Tennant coming back. It's just this theme, isn't it, that keeps coming across now of we're unraveling something, and we just don't know what it is yet. That's the vibe I'm getting.
So in other words, maybe David Tennant doesn't regenerate into Shooty. Maybe Shooty was always a Doctor all the time, but everybody saw him as David Tennant. Who knows? That's it. I thought I'd just put it out there.
Wouldn't that affect that personality though? Because
I don't know. He's the Doctor inside, isn't he? No matter what he looks like. So I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just a thought, you know.
Richard Brooks reminds us. It's all a massive can of worms and beans and everything else. Richard Brooks reminds us that the Doctor is a plaything. The first Doctor barely escaped from him before, and this is great stuff. Was Glenn Piper speculates here? Was the Toymaker was the Toymaker clever enough to create the Timeless Child storyline? Was it one of his tricks that never happened? Again,
that's
this
what
is
I was trying to refer to, because you were talking about retconning so and so and so and so. I would be happy with that.
I would be too.
I would be fine with that.
Definitely.
Didn't Toby Jones play the Toymaker? Was it Toby Jones?
No,
or am I getting mixed up?
No, he's a dream.
Of course.
Do you remember who played Alfred, Batman's butler, in the 80s and 90s?
It was him, wasn't it?
Batman movies? Yeah, it was him. Yeah. That's all I know him from, I'm afraid. I never watched the Toymaker episodes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's really it's a great concept. It's
you mean Michael Gow?
Toymaker was in once. Was in one story, and he's still like this long after.
Legendary,
back
yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Part of the mystique is the fact that so much of that story, doesn't exist. We can listen to it, and but all the imagery from it is very very evocative. In that third tingle, we get this is weird, Sarah. So we get this reference on screen again, reverse text. It says brooding Eilish. Now, I have no idea. The only Eilish I know is the one who did, Billie Eilish, who did the James Bond theme a couple of years ago. I don't know any other Eilishes. So what could that mean, Sarah? Any ideas?
What is it backwards?
I don't know.
Oh, don't ask me that.
Oh no! And we've got the falling playing cards there that we all saw. We all saw that on screen. That's again very Toymaker. These are the rules of the game. That's what the voiceover says. So it does chime with the message in the chat there that the Doctor is a plaything and that this is all going on sort of around him and involving him.
There's going to be a Billie Eilish song. Like
maybe.
Britney Spears toxic.
Could be.
Might be the musical episode.
Yeah, why not? Everybody else is in it. Anyway.
As always, we're putting this out on Thursday night UK time, Friday morning. If you're Matt Pott, and who knows if they're going to drop another little tingle out between now and Eurovision night, which does look like that's where we're going to get a look at something more substantial. But in the meantime, all we have is these three. So I thought that other people have deciphered them and decoded them and scrambled them, and here we can look at them all again, and we can hear the dialogue. We can hear what actually gets said. Ian, here we are in proper English. Listen to this.
Cryptic. I hate that. Why did this face come back? She mentioned Gallifrey. In everyone's head.
That is a sinister laugh, Charlotte. You're absolutely right.
That's what I've
She
just
mentioned
his energy.
Gallifrey. That's the line. She mentioned Gallifrey.
Yeah.
So who is he referring to? There's the question, isn't it?
We haven't seen. We haven't seen a shit. Well, that's to the best of our knowledge, Jinx Monsoon, whoever that. People are becoming obsessed in this fandom with Jinx Monsoon.
might be
For all we know, it's a character that's going to be in one episode like sometime next year, and it really has. I know it's kind of soured Doctor Who for people this last 6 weeks, and I do understand. I talked about it for a long time here on the show with everybody else, but it's hopefully that'll be where that ends, I would think. So that's all we've had so far, James.
Can I just ask one thing how are people finding it difficult to believe like a villain that's dressed like a piano, but they were perfectly fine accepting someone that was dressed as an incarnation of the Master that was dressed like Mary Poppins? I don't.
It's not that though, James. It's not that. That's not what they're complaining about, and I think you know that as well. So that's not what they're complaining about. So. I just thought people were saying that the character looks too silly. No, it's not that. That's not what they're
the
complaining about.
It's not the fiction. Okay. It's the politics and the philosophy
exactly.
And the statement.
I won't go any further.
And the nepotism.
Sorry.
It's all right,
nepotism as well.
Going back down on what you're saying.
It's a reasonable question, and it's a perfectly reasonable question. Yeah, it's one we've covered on the show before, and we probably will revisit it again at some point in the future. But that's a perfectly reasonable question. Gary Lee's watching in the chat. The legendary Gary Lee, journalist Gary Lee says, "I'm a bit late catching up. But did you say cocking or clocking earlier on when the Capaldi and Doctor and Clara photos on screen? I have no idea what you mean, Gary. I'm going to have to go back and look at that bit again. I don't know.
It's Dan.
It's Dan being rude again. That's what it is.
One thing I just wanted to quickly mention is,
yes.
Do you think the general public are still up to speed on what's going on? Because you think how many millions of people have watched the Coronation, and Shooty's been bigged up as being the Doctor, and Kirsty Young talks to him about being the Doctor and the filming, and then they're watching BBC, and then they're getting Catherine Tate and David Tennant on the screen, and I'm like, it's a bit, if you're out of the loop, and we know that a lot of the general public have been lost.
They are, because people don't read the papers anymore either, Sarah. Little pap shots and things like that, they sell to far fewer people than they used to. So a great many people were really surprised when David Tennant turned up on screen at the end of last year, even though we'd all seen the pictures. To a lot of people, that was a massive surprise.
Oh, I wish I had that surprise. I wish I didn't know, but it's fine.
Here.
But the people that I can only relate to my parents because they didn't actually watch since, well, they missed all of Capaldi's run, actually. Poor them, actually, thinking about it. But my mum was the one who told me that the trailer was going to be coming on Eurovision. So I don't think they're that out of the loop. And my mum and my stepdad, they did watch it for a while, but they're nowhere near the level that I am. So I would like to think that they are still there and they're still going to come back. So that's always a nice thing.
So that's good to know. That is good to know.
Yeah.
Does this marketing campaign, Matt? I mean, does this, because it does seem like they're trying to drag people in, doesn't it, to coax people in, and regardless of the Whittaker era or even the Shooty era, I mean, what do you make of this as marketing? Do you think it's because obviously it's still another 6 months till this is on? Is it a strong strategy, or is it badly timed? Are they doing it in the wrong order? What are your instincts about this?
Well, I mean, it's non-existent here. We never even got the actual trailer for this
Christmas
series
one
coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the specials. So you know, it's non-existent here completely. But as far as I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you excited, and I don't think that the audience is there. This is my personal opinion. Yeah. I don't think that the audience is there to welcome it back. I don't think the excitement is there like it was. You know, there is no fever for it. It's already been on, and the fact is that they think, oh, you know, this is just a reboot. If they'd have waited maybe 5 years or something, then there may be a bit of an excitement. But because there's not that much of a gap between Power of the Doctor and this new era, which I don't think people realize is going to be a new era either. The normal,
I see. Yeah.
To call it.
Oh, I think
so. But yeah, no, I can see where they're going with it. The only way I'm actually watching it is through social media. So you know, and people actually dissecting these things and going through it and explains it a little bit better. I did notice that there was some. That they were manipulating images and that, so I thought that there'd be a lot of people dissecting it, and I don't know.
I just want to stop you there. I just want to stop you there for a moment because she's been dissecting this here with us the last couple of hours. Now she's got to pop off, so I just wanted to say good night to Charlotte. Thank you for your company as always, and hope to catch you next week.
Yeah, see you guys soon. Bye.
Night. Bye. Yeah, so you were saying, Matt, sorry.
No, that's okay. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, no, it's okay. But anyway, yeah, no, look, whether or not it's going to get the excitement, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this trailer that's upcoming on the 13th will actually entice some people. But I don't think these teasers are working currently.
I don't think they're working either. I agree.
Can I actually ask, since I don't know whether you guys don't watch the BBC, but are they showing this just as a one-off, or are they showing this over each night sort of thing?
I wondered that too. Has anybody seen these things more than once?
BBC.
Any of you guys?
I don't watch
BBC. I don't watch TV.
The beauty of it, of course, is that we are live streaming this to YouTube and Facebook, over there to the Type 40 Facebook group too. So if anybody, have you seen these things more than once, or is it literally a one and done thing? Because they're not on the YouTube channel either, and that's quite strange, isn't it, Sarah? Normally everything goes up on there. Yeah, so are they dotting it here and there over the days? They're showing them multiple times.
I don't know. I just think that it's nice that he's trying to be very clever and he's trying to basically entice us, and we have to figure out what's going on. But we're the real kind of Doctor Who fans. But as Matt says, the normies, excluding obviously Shah's parents and Shah's relatives, obviously, the normies don't know what the hell's going on at all, do they? They don't really know. And I guess they're hoping that this trailer before the Eurovision is going to make the normies see that Doctor Who's coming back with David Tennant then again, it's David Tennant, isn't it? So what are they really saying here? Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit weird. I find this.
There's
this
only
kind
one
of
person I want to see in this trailer. One
Matt!
person not bloody
All
Matt.
arrows
I want
are
to see
pointing.
Matt.
I want to
This
see Bernard.
has to.
Oh, you want to
This
see
trailer,
Bernard?
Yeah.
All right.
This trailer, it does seem like we are getting a full trailer
Good.
on
I hope so.
Eurovision night. Eurovision, I say I'm not a fan. I used to be when I was a kid. I don't think the competition is what it was. I think it's intensely political, and
Yes, it
it's
is.
just not stylistically. It's not about the songs. It's about all manner of other things. It's just not for me. A lot of people like it, and that's fair enough. I'm not going to sit through it even for a minute's worth of Doctor Who. But so this is coming on Saturday. But realistically, Matt, it's got a massive global audience, and this should be
even
another
here.
minute's worth. It should be another minute's worth. But realistically, another 60 seconds, Sarah, of them throwing David Tennant around a street or a studio floor isn't really going to be enough. We saw that at Christmas. We've seen they're going to have to give us something pretty big on Saturday in this trailer, either a face that we didn't know was involved or some big set piece, aren't they? Because these junctions, it's months. It is months in between full trailers. This has got to take the stakes up, I think, and I believe that Russell will know that and know that this audience is massive. It is. I know that the Eurovision Song Contest hasn't really achieved sort of a mainstream success in America, in the Americas market, but everywhere else it is watched by the millions, isn't it?
It is, and it's not. It's not really. I enjoyed it in the 90s, Gina G and all that. But yeah, not so
Gina
much,
G.
See
Oh my
what
God,
I'm
that's
saying?
going
Though?
back.
It can't be a remix of the Christmas trailer.
But you know what, guys? You know what would be perfect is if they had Matt and Peter and David. That would be awesome. You know what I mean? That would make everybody want to watch.
Yeah,
that.
even just somebody
Seriously.
straightening a bow tie, Shaw.
Do you know what? That's fine. But sorry, James, I'll be 2 seconds, I promise you. The one thing that I actually hated about, I think it was Capaldi's last season, that trailer, and it showed John Sim at the end. I didn't want that because can you imagine at the end of World Enough and Time when he reveals it? He's John Sim's master. That would have been amazing, but because I already knew that was coming, I didn't want it in the trailer. But I totally get where you're coming from. That you need something for viewers to be like, "Oh my god!" But
Peter and
David
Matt.
Tennant,
Yes.
I know, but they're like, I don't want Matt purely because I don't know why I don't want him, but it's because David Tennant and Matt, it's already happened, and they're the fangirl favourites. I just don't want that. And I also just. I think David Tennant's enough to bring people back, and Donna's enough to bring people back. I don't think we need all these faces to come up in the trailer. I want to be surprised when I watch it. I always feel like they made a little bit of a mistake when they did when they announced the trailer at Christmas, knowing that we've pretty much got a full year now to speculate and think, and that's wonderful, that's great. But
Matt will bring the American audience.
Potentially, I might be completely wrong and have egg on my face, you know me. Sorry.
I'm just delighted here, and I actually feel quite envious for the Americans watching in the live chat on YouTube who have no idea what Eurovision is, such as Vanessa Law and the Timescales, both asking, "What is Eurovision? What is Eurovision night?" You know what? In some cases, ignorance really is bliss.
There was a Timescales and Vanessa. You know, in Parting of the Ways, when the Daleks tried to shoot, and Night Doctor says, "Nil point." That's all you need to know about
Yeah, so we had this news today. Not only is a trailer almost certainly on the way for Eurovision night, so is Donna herself. The surprise news that Catherine Tate, the actor and comedian, is going to be the one delivering the UK's scores on Eurovision night. So this came from the BBC. She's going to be the one. Yeah, so they do this thing, don't they? Everybody performs their songs, and then they go to the jury, and somebody always says, England awards France 5 points. And this year, that's going to be Catherine Tate.
Is she going to do it as Nan?
No,
I would imagine.
translator.
I would imagine she's going to do it as herself, not as the offensive translator, which she's incurred the wrath of Twitter just in the last couple of days over that. I wish we could go into that. We just haven't got time. But yes, so it's been hosted in Liverpool on behalf of last year's winners, the Ukraine. How that works out, God only knows. Weird. And it takes place on Saturday, the 13th of May. I've got a quote here from Catherine Tate. As herself this time, she says, it's very exciting to be announcing the iconic 12 points at Eurovision. It's just a foot in the door, really, as next year I hope to be the UK entrant. So if Eurovision itself this year doesn't scare you, just the thought of that probably should.
Can I just like to say to the Americans, right? If it wasn't for the Eurovision Song Contest, we would never have ABBA. We would have never had Celine Dion, because Celine Dion was part of it as well. And there are loads of famous people that came through Eurovision Song Contest and are famous now. So look it up.
America might be part
Google
of it.
Yeah, and Australia's a part of it, and we're not even in the
It's not the Eurovision anymore, but I like it.
No, it's
yeah,
not,
because all the Commonwealth are coming in as well, aren't they? So that's good too.
Yeah,
that's good too. I did laugh actually. No offense to Australians, but when Australia became part of Eurovision, I was like, you could not be further from Europe.
Oh, we were sending all the bad singers there. Don't worry.
I know.
Guy Sebastian and that. Yep, no, you can have them.
Obviously, if you are a big Eurovision fan, this is all said in jest. You enjoy what you enjoy and get dressed up and do whatever it is that you've got to do on Eurovision night. I do hope you enjoy yourselves sincerely. Of course I do. And yeah, there's going to be a full trailer. I would say that's looking pretty conclusive that that's going to happen, and we'll be all over that too here on Type 40 and Type 40 Live. Let us know what you think of it all in the comments section. All this rambling on that we've been doing, have you been keeping track of this? Is this right up your street? Of course we'd like to know. We'd like to know your takes and what your hopes are for whatever we're going to see in the near future.
Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Click the buttons. Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Oh, one more thing, everybody. Almost forgot before we head off. Yeah, so here we are again, as ever, rounding things off with one last look at the view screen, our regular eye into the temporal schism. Sarah, are you excited about the thought of this?
Oh God, of course I am. I love pretty pictures.
This is it. Yeah, this is where we go in search of the prettiest of pictures, James, from across the Whooniverse. And just to remind you, if you're a fan artist or you know a fan artist, you admire a particular fan artist and think that we'd love them too, then send their work in our direction. We'd love to know. Get them up on the view screen here and find some great new fan art to salivate over, because we do love this stuff. We like to get behind people and their various projects. Thanks for the messages, everybody in the live chat. People are comparing their favourite and not so favourite Eurovision acts. I didn't see that one. This is the class of punters we get, James, on this show. They're much more cultured than we are. Shakespeare, Eurovision, they're all over it. Look. Carol Jew says, I wish we had Eurovision here.
No, you don't. No, you don't. It's become a joke now. That's the problem. Yeah.
Jonathan Cox says, "Thank God I'm at work that night." Well, the beauty of it is, whatever they show on that night will be up on the official YouTube. I've no doubt about that. Pretty picture time, says Richard Brooks. It absolutely is. And I thought we'd start with this one from, I've got to get this right, an Aquarius Fox. And it's we're back in the 60s, Ian, on not on Abbey Road. It looks more like Piccadilly Circus, actually.
Yeah, it does.
The 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday there. And this, I think this does look sort of album coverish, doesn't it? It's very nice with the TARDIS too.
It's okay, yeah, it's all right. It's got
I really like that. I like,
stylized.
Do you know what? We should get an artist to draw the Type 40 people next to the Doctor. There's a challenge.
Well, we've got a couple here on the panel. Let's just find the time.
You want me to do it? Oh, no, you want me to?
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about this, won't we? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll dress you up as each your favourite Doctor.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Fantastic, Matt. Fantastic.
Don't do any of this
Fabulous.
dirty, though, I'm telling you.
What do I dress JT as?
It's good though, isn't it, Shah? The people, the fan artists, they latch onto this stuff right away, don't they? And as soon as there's a new look for the Doctor, I would imagine the Regency costume, there's probably fan art of this dropping right now. Doctor Who fans are so creative and right on it.
Oh, they're fantastic, and I just think they're so. I can't do anything like that. I've not got an artistic bone in my body when it comes to drawing. Stickman is my limit. But when I see things like this, so when I see things like this, I just think it's great, and like how you can love something so much that you just want to put your own stamp on things. Why not? It's the same with cosplay, writing, audios, all that sort of stuff, videos, content creation, everything. But I do love pretty pictures for reasons like this. So.
Is that why you do YouTube as well, to some extent, James, to flex creative muscles?
Yeah, I mean, I studied acting for a good 10 years of my life, so I've always wanted to be an actor because of David Tennant. Actually, he was kind of my inspiration. So when I find myself really sort of itching to perform or do anything like that, when I don't have a theatre play to be in, or no one I know is filming a short film or whatever that I'd really like to be in. When I don't have either of those as an option, it's either get drunk and do karaoke, or
love that,
or yes, do Who Addicts videos. So yeah,
awesome.
You'd make a good serial killer.
He says stuff like that all the time. I don't know what he means either. Let's gloss over it. Okay, so they've got, so from one musical era from the 60s back to the 50s, and my favourite Doctor Who story, this wonderful piece of fan art here, digital art. This is from Kellogg on Instagram, and it's a montage from the greatest Doctor Who story of all time, of course, Delta and the Bannermen, capturing some of those great moments, including the moped chase there with the Doctor.
Heartbeat and the Bannermen.
Yeah, where's Nick Berry? Where's Nick Berry when you need him? I like how perplexed Hugh Lloyd looks in the background there. So obviously this is a running joke as I gradually try and convert members of the Type 40 Live panel to my love of Delta and the Bannermen. How am I getting on?
Delta and the Bannermen.
Am I convincing you, Ian, or you've no idea what I'm talking about?
At all. It's one of the worst.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in ages.
It really is one of the worst, but hey, such is life.
I don't know. I'd say some modern stuff's worse. But...
Oh, well, yeah. That goes without saying, Matt.
Vanessa Law asks, where is Simon Horton when you need him? The original Lunatic, he's out on manoeuvres, a secret engagement. Yeah, but he will be back. He'll be back next week. Don't you worry about that, Vanessa. He's at large and very much in rude health, I'm happy to say. So, yeah, you'll have to try and stop him from being back next time. Here's to the future, says Crimpling Doubloons. That's that wonderful song there. More singing in Doctor Who. It was Kev McCulloch and his band, wasn't it, that performed and written a lot of the music for that story. But yes, my love of Delta and the Bannermen, it knows no bounds, Matt. Are you a fan?
I haven't seen it in a long time. I couldn't even do. I just remember the weird little ghoulie, the little green goblin thing. Isn't that the one?
Yeah, the baby alien from V makes a cameo appearance in that somewhat unexpectedly. Yes, I'm working on them. Are you a fan of Delta and the Bannermen, James, or is it
completely lost on me? I'm afraid. Completely.
You need to get this in your life.
Skip me. I'm sorry.
You need to get this in your. You must be tantalised then by this image of Bonnie Langford.
I was just a bit like, wow, it's been all edited quite well. It's it's just completely lost on me. I have absolutely no idea what this is in reference to.
Okay, well, we'll have to get you back on, and we'll fill you in. Maybe we'll do it. We'll expose you to the glory.
Good. A bit of education's what I need.
That's what this show is, though, James. Trust me, I've learned so much. Some people didn't want to learn.
Regularly, I get messages saying, you know, I watched Type 40 live last night, and that has taught me a lesson. I don't know what I mean. Okay, we got this one as well. This bit of fan art from Ian Cartoons. And this isn't okay. Never mind with the comments. This isn't rude. This is a character from the story Death to the Daleks there, from the City of the Exelons. This is the giant sort of Loch Ness Monster style hose creature, Sarah, that comes out of the water there on the planet Exelon in the John Pertwee favourite. Does this put the wind up you just looking at this? It does me.
No, I think it's really cute. And it's the complete opposite effect.
Yeah, okay. Ian, you're a Pertwee man. Do you remember this one?
I do, but I can't remember what actually happened in the episode. It's been such a long time since I've revisited.
I can't either.
I haven't seen this for ages.
I thought it was a Cybermat, actually, when I saw that. I was like, oh, that's a Cybermat.
But it was like Dyson Hoover. That's what I thought it was. But there you go.
It's like my shower.
It's that thing that comes out in the Star Wars, you know?
Yeah,
In the trash compactor.
It does look like a shower attachment. I agree,
That's
Sean.
literally what I was thinking. I was just like, that is straight out of my bathroom, that, isn't it? But,
Oh, this is popular too. We've got
me, thanks.
Exelon Root, says Cyberman Strawberry. I think put some talcum powder on it, and hopefully it'll be better in the morning. The Lonely Probe. That's out of Shaw's Marital Aids catalogue again, Richard. Oh, yeah. Hooray! I love Death to the Daleks, says Crimpling Doubloon, and yeah, lots of people seem to like it too. It made an appearance in the Crotons. Yes, it did, and it was the same appendage on the end. I think it probably was. It looks very similar, certainly. I think it got a flatter end. Ooh, I know. A great show, as always. Good job, everyone, says the time scales. Well, thank you, Greg. You can come again, mate. You can come again. So that's another one from Ian's Cartoons. Go and follow him. I think he's up on Instagram. See lots of nice pictures from Ian there. There's lots of Ians in Doctor Who fandom, I find. We haven't had one of these for a while, Sarah. Do you like a colorization?
I do like a colorization.
I'm so glad you said that, because we've got a belter. We've got a belter this time. I only found out recently, this very week, that the classic Doctor Who story, The Crotons, James, back to The Crotons, that it was filmed in, partly the location stuff was filmed in Malvern, which isn't far at all from me, only about 15 miles down the road.
That's Worcester, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah. You learn something new about Doctor Who every day in this fandom, show. You really do. So yes, we've got this picture. So I think we've all seen this picture over the years. It's often printed in, I think I first saw it in Doctor Who Weekly, something like 30, 40 years ago, whenever that was. Yes, so this is a lovely picture of the second Doctor in character, and I think very much sums him up there, the body language, everything. And very much a classic pose. And sadly, it only existed in black and white until Clayton Hickman got his hands on it this week, and he's brought it to life there and remastered it, and we get to see.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, the details, the trousers, the bow tie, the handkerchief. Oh, it's wonderful.
That is very
I've always
nice.
thought there's a beauty in the black and white era, but seeing it colorized like that, I just love it. It's really
They have to do it
really
right,
lovely.
don't they, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely agree with
The
you.
effort that goes into it just astonishes me.
I hate it when it goes fuzzy, when they use very fuzzy.
Yeah, so do I.
Sooner or later, they're going to go back to those classics, the ones that exist, and the technology is going to be there where they'll make them color.
It seems, Ian, it seems to be getting closer by the week.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So we'll see, right? You never know what they're going to do in 5 years' time. So.
Here on this show, James, we've been talking a little the last few weeks about AI artwork, and artificial intelligence. Like CapG. What's it called? ChatGPT. All these things, all these innovations. It seems to be happening so quickly. But with Doctor Who, with entertainment, with geeky stuff, it does mean that things that were impossible just 2 or 3 years ago, certainly to this standard, are now pretty commonplace. Makes you wonder where it's going to end, doesn't it?
It can sometimes be quite scary, but that's mainly because of the amount of films that I've consumed over the years. That involve
Skynet is alive.
I have seen Terminator and Terminator 2 far too many times to think that AI is at all a good idea. Yeah, sure, it can make our lives a lot easier, and can, you know, sort of be you can sort of marvel at, you know, what people have created and things like that. But at the same time, it's you can't let them get too smart, because then humanity's doomed.
I suppose as long as it sticks to colorizing, Matt, a pair of tweed trousers, then we've got to be in safe territory, haven't we?
I mean, I think I have a theory that what they'll do is that it'll get so advanced that they'll just put the scripts in, the ones with the missing episodes, and it'll actually recreate the entire episode using their images, because it's getting that advanced now.
Well, the Roddenberry estate is recreating the Cage, aren't they? For Star Trek, and they're using actresses and actors that actually look like the people when they shot it in the 60s. So I guess, and they got the technology now, so that's where it's going. In the next 10 years' time, I wouldn't be surprised, because now you can see AIs creating people walking around. They're actually moving.
Well, this is it, Ian. I mean, they're not recreating the Cage. Yeah. They're actually creating new footage, using characters and sets and locations from that, and effectively creating brand new classic Star Trek. Yep. Mark Milford here says AI will allow us to make our own Doctor Who, and I don't think he necessarily means like, you know, you cast your favorite actor, cast Adrian Lester as the Doctor and have him go off, you know, whoever your fantasy picks are. But if you wanted to, potentially with this technology, perhaps James has sort of pointed to it, perhaps new Patrick Troughton episodes of Doctor Who could be possible, could be seamless.
You can actually just type in a description and it'll actually recreate it for you. So that's what I'm saying.
Do you know when people are saying that if it gets too intelligent, we just pull the plug? Don't you think AI is going, they're going to pull the plug? Don't you think AI is actually doing that? That's probably what it's thinking. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is madness. Stop it now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't need AI to make. I don't need AI to make my own Doctor Who for me. Do you remember the Doctor Who comic book maker that you used to have on the Doctor Who website? I had that. I had Trailer Maker as well. I used to spend hours trying to perfect my own Doctor Who trailer and perfect my own comic book of Doctor Who and everything. So I had that. Bring that back. I mean, you know, that was so much fun. I used to spend just hours after school on that. Well, I should have been doing homework, but it was... it was just AI
to do your homework while you do that.
You may joke, but that's what the students are doing now. They're using AI to write, their essays and stuff. It's crazy, and the teachers don't know. You know, how are the teachers going to know?
No, because they're all different.
Scary.
They don't know, seriously.
Cybermat Strike says, I'm all for AI if it can deliver 26 seasons of 4K colorized classic Ultra HD disc sets, then just shut it down. That'll be
you know.
And Darren Bradley's in the chat, evening Darren, and says, with the rate of AI color tech, I'm in no doubt we'll see a complete colorized first Dalek serial, official or not. If the BBC had any sense about the BBC studios, you know, we have heard whispers of this. I think we talked about it on the show before, haven't we? And they'd be looking to get ahead with this. I think some of us saw the episode of the 3 episodes of Hancock, I think, that were colorized late last year, Ian. And that was months ago. Things are coming on that quickly. Who knows what could be possible for this November? As soon as we know, we'll be talking about it here on Type 40 Live. Of course we will. Whether it scares the living daylights out of us or not, we know no fear, Sarah. That's the definition of it, to be afraid but do it anyway. And we'll talk about this stuff, even if it does put the wind, up us. I want to finish on this as well. Again, a thank you to Harry Ammett there from Instagram and Twitter for these beautiful pictures there of the silenced TARDIS from the episode The Lodger that we've had on screen a couple of times tonight. Harry is a fantastic digital artist, and I can't recommend enough you go and follow him and see some of his amazing artwork, the set recreations and his own creations too. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, the Doctor Who fandom delivers again with the best the very best of fan art. Why do they do that? Sarah, why do they do it?
For the love of who?
They do indeed. Yeah, that's why they do it. That's why we do this, James. That's why you do what you do on the Who Addicts. I understand you've got a new video dropping any day now, James. Tell us about that. Can you tease us? Give us a tingle. Give us a tingle of your own.
Don't speak backwards.
It's a very dangerous thing to do.
Dan, you have said tingle way too many times for me to be comfortable with it on tonight. Just like, the word tingle. The word tingle has lost all meaning to me now. You've said it that many times. I've got a video coming out. Basically, it's just going to be kind of talking about that I think that the 14th Doctor, personality-wise, needs to be different from the 10th Doctor. So, I kind of... I do think that there needs to be some sort of distinction between both iterations somewhere.
Well, he's different colour, so that's a bit of a distinction, isn't it?
Well, it's different suit. I wouldn't quite say it. My friends have said to me that that I can hear that the accent's different. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the same voice. It's the same voice that he puts on and everything.
He's got big pokey hair, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's definitely got that. Sometimes in some pictures, I think the hair gel is kind of working overtime. I think he might put too much in his hair at some point.
You could be right.
Yeah, I'll be talking a bit about that.
It always amazes me that somebody's job is to style David Tennant.
Waff him.
I know. Whoever did his hair for the 50th special.
Jealous, Sarah.
It was terrible.
He's had a lovely blow dry.
You want to do it, don't you?
So on a scale of 1 to 10, there, James, how spicy is the take that you have prepared on this new video? Should people prepare themselves for this, or is it gentle?
Sounds like
it's kind of a sequel video, because I kind of made a video a while back. Basically, how hesitant I was for David Tennant to even come back in the first place as the Doctor himself. I was fine with the David Tennant coming back in like a multi-Doctor special and stuff, but with him being the Doctor again, like the current Doctor regenerating into him, I was a bit hesitant about that, because I had a problem with the idea of regeneration. Because regenerations are always a bit sad, aren't they? They're always a bit sad and a bit tragic, and it kind of gets rid a bit of that tragedy for me. So if they keep doing that, like David Tennant coming back and then Matt Smith possibly coming back, as Ian would probably be so excited about, but if Doctors keep on coming back, if they can just come back like that, then it kind of ruins any chance of a regeneration actually being sad. I kind of like.
You've got to remember though, because in the classic era, regenerations were very seldom in between. Like every time that there was a new Doctor, but they're like handed out like lollies now in the newest series, where it's every episode he's blowing up or something like that, or he's redoing himself, and so he doesn't have to regenerate or something, or holding on or whatever. It used to be like wham bam, you're gone. You can't really
bugger off onto the next one.
Yeah. I do kind of like the permanence of regeneration and how permanent it sort of seems. So this video is kind of me just kind of going, hang on, let me elaborate on that point, because I was kind of a bit hard with it before. So,
but I think the last regeneration was a joy, wasn't it?
Beautifully shot, Ian.
That was the rule.
So that's the Who Addicts on YouTube. Go and subscribe to them, and you can get James's take on that. It sounds fascinating and entertaining, as I'm sure all of the content has always been on that channel. So thanks for coming on again, James. You've been great company as always, and a brilliant sport.
Always a pleasure.
And that's the 60th anniversary is on the way, and we're looking. I think we're still generally even looking forward to it all. 3 episodes coming later this year, and we're probably going to get tingled and teased a little bit more. I think we are. More Type 40 live Doctor Who next week, same time and space here. So don't forget, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check you're still subscribed and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's going on next here and when we're doing it, whether it's a podcast or more live streams or an extra video. Anything else that's coming right at you. The first place to get word on all that is through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who. You can find all that there. Get notified and engage with us. Hit us in the comments section too, by all means, with anything you've got to say about the Tingle teasers, about the sonic screwdriver finally going sonic boom, about the location, the Regency flavoured image that we've got, and Jonathan Groff. Are you a fan of that actor? Do you think he's going to be great in the show? And what did you think about Shooty's Shakespearean extravaganza the other night on the Coronation concert? You can talk through all these things with regenerations upon regenerations worth of Doctor Who fans in the Type 40 Facebook groups too. If you head over to Facebook and join up, you may never leave. Thank you to everybody who's watched all of this and listened along in the live. There's still people coming in. Mark the Vicar's joined us early doors.
Hello.
The beauty of this is, Mark, you can do some time traveling now and you can shuffle right back to the start and see what you've missed. It's great to see you. Ada McGee says, I'm glad I didn't fall asleep this week. I think we are too.
There's two.
Vanessa Law reminds to hit the like button, everybody, and have a lovely evening. And there's a can of worms here about regenerations too, Sarah. Yeah, go where you want to take these questions, and if it's wound you up, go and take that to the Who Addicts and spam the comments section there.
Yeah.
Give James a hard time.
That way.
We get so much flack over there that I'm kind of just like, bring it now.
Bring it on.
It's ready for a scrap.
Indeed.
Yeah, bring it on you tarts there. If you've got that. So yes, thank you to my panel this evening, to the wonderful Charlotte Shields there on her new laptop, her new tech, sounding clear as a bell, and it's very, very as always, insightful and entertaining and good humoured. Yes, so Charlotte will be back next time with a bit of luck. Char, so glad you could join us there. Come on and join the fun.
I know, I'm sorry I could only come late, but it's always nice to see you guys. So.
Better late than never. Always happy to see you. Matt Pott, the day stretching out ahead of you, mate. Hope you have a great Friday. And what have you got planned? What are you up to over the next day or so?
I'm doing a lot of washing.
A lot of washing.
Yeah.
Let's say
That's
you're going to fit in a viewing maybe of Delta and the Bannermen. I don't know. If we
you know what? I'll just do it just for you. I will.
Good man. Ian David Diaz, as always, happy to have you on the show. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Do you think we haven't fried your brain with the Tingle teasers?
No, I just want a proper trailer now. I want to see what we're
Not past 24 hours.
Is it like the kids say, and I'm just over it? Show me, give me the trailer, give it me already.
That's Shah. She says things like that, not me though.
No,
I'm over it.
That's very true, yeah.
And last but not least, Sarah, I think this is the first time you've been on the live streams this year. I'm delighted to have you back, so I do hope we're going to see you again sooner rather than later. Yeah. You can hear Sarah out along with Ian and myself reviewing Planet of the Dead on the latest edition of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast too. So we talk about the 10th Doctor in particular and about that classic Easter special too. But yeah, great to have you back, Sarah. And I hope we're going to see you sooner rather than later.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be sick of me.
Fabulous.
Be careful what you wish for.
Fabulous stuff. Well, there's always room here. Of course, there is. Okay, that wraps it up. Thank you, everybody who's joined in the comments section. They're still talking, still having fun. And all it needs for me to say now is remind you that we always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. Hold tight. Take care. Watch out for those trailers on Eurovision night. I do hope you enjoyed the contest. If that's your bag, we'll speak to you all again soon. No, bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Bye-bye.